Our next broadcast is a radio and television comedy series that ran for over 3 decades, from 1932 to 1955 on radio and from 1950 to 1965 on television. It won numerous awards, including the 1959 Emmy for Best Comedy Show, and is generally regarded as the high watermark in 20th century American comedy. Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you the Jack Benny Program on HOJO Radio.
J-E-L-L-O.
The Jell-O program, starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston and Phil Harris and his orchestra. The orchestra opens the program with Something Tells Me. This is that restless time of the year when most of us want something new, something different. Well, if you have that urge to discover new things, all you have to do is step into your own kitchen and open a box of Jell-O. Right away, you'll think of dozens of delicious new things to eat. Jell-O desserts, Jell-O salads, Jell-O relishes. All with a tempting springtime freshness that's a treat for any tongue. For Jell-O brings you that delicious extra-rich fruit flavor, deeper, truer, more satisfying. A flavor that rivals the juicy, ripe goodness of fresh fruit itself. And to start you off on your career of new and inspired dishes, you'll find attractive recipes on every package of Jell-O. Strawberry, raspberry, cherry, orange, lemon, and lime. So if you want to discover a brand new repertoire of swell things to eat, stock up with Jell-O tomorrow. Look for the big red letters on the box. They spell Jell-O. Tells Me, played by the orchestra. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we bring you a man who has just become Beverly Hills' latest taxpayer and homeowner, Jack Benny.
Yes, sir. Hello again. This is Jack Benny coming to you through a second mortgage. And, Don, I'm tickled to death that you brought up the subject of my new home. I've been dying to talk about it. You know, it's the first real thing I've ever owned.
Well, how's the place coming along, Jack? Is it almost finished?
Well, it's moving along all right now, but at the beginning we had an awful lot of trouble.
Oh, is that so? Now, what happened?
Well, the first month when they were putting up the wooden framework, the termites were way ahead of the carpenters. Oh, they were hungry little devils, you know?
Yes, indeed, those termites are vicious. Why, they'll eat the lumber as soon as you put it up.
Put it up nothing. These babies used to run down the street and meet the truck. Oh, they're go-getters, you know.
By the way, Jack, who's your architect?
Oh, a fellow by the name of Carlton Burgess. He's very clever, Don, but a bit stubborn. You see, he feels he knows more about building a house than I do. You know?
Well, now, that's only natural. That's his job.
I know, Don, but this fellow Burgess is so extravagant. I didn't mind when he hung a crystal chandelier in the garage. But when he put a guest room in the doghouse, that was going too far. You know, if Fido has friends, let him move over. But I guess you have to expect those things, you know.
Say, Jack, are you going to have a swimming pool?
What's that, Phil?
I say, are you going to have a swimming pool?
Oh, sure, it's already built. And that's another thing Burgess went overboard on. I asked for a little place where I could wade. I wish you could see the size of the swimming pool he built for me.
How big is it?
How big? Well, there's a lighthouse in it. That's how big it is. Now, when I go swimming, I'll have to put an outboard motor in my trunks. Say, Phil. Phil, you've got a home of your own, too, haven't you?
Oh, sure. I built a beautiful ranch house right off of Ventura Boulevard.
Oh.
I have 14 rooms and an 8-car garage.
Well.
I'm mighty proud of it.
Well, I don't blame you, Phil. What do you call your place?
Auto Camp number 7.
Well, of course, mine is going to be a private home, naturally, you know.
Hello, Jack.
Oh, hello, Mary. Say, I want to thank you for helping me out, doing so much shopping and everything. Did you pick out the wallpaper for my dining room yet?
Oh, sure, Jack, and it's beautiful.
It is, eh?
It's a deep salmon color and has pink billy goats leaping over lavender cactus plants.
Is that for my dining room?
Yes.
I've lost my appetite already. What did you get for my bedroom?
Well, for that, I got bright gold wallpaper with little red butterflies chasing baby blue gorillas. And there's an American flag spread all over the ceiling.
That's fine. I'll have to sleep standing up. Okay, what else did you get?
Now, for the doghouse.
Mary, I don't want wallpaper in the doghouse. Fido doesn't need such ritzy surroundings.
Well, he entertains more than you do.
Well, he's a good mixer. Anyway, I like that. He's a good mixer. Anyway, thanks just the same, Mary. Really.
Say, Jack, I'd like to drive out and see your place sometime. Is it a nice neighborhood?
No, that's a silly question. Why, sure, Certainly, I'm in a swell neighborhood, ain't I, Mary?
I'll say. Listen, Don, you know Ginger Rogers, the movie star, don't you?
Oh, yes, Mary.
Well, her uncle buys fish at the market right next door to Jack's house.
Uncle, it's her brother. That's even closer. And, Don, as a special tribute to you, I'm going to have a bed of red tulips in front of the house that spell out Jello. Jell-O.
Well, now, that's a lovely gesture, Jack, but why don't you also spell out the 6 delicious flavors?
Oh, come now, Don. That would run into tulips, you know. But it's a thought anyway. Oh, hello, Kenny.
Hiya, Jack. Hello, Don.
Hello, Kenny.
Hiya, Mary. Hiya, Phil.
Hello.
Well, we're all here.
Yes, we're all here, Kenny. In fact, we've been here since the program started. Where were you?
Well, I was driving in from my place through Beverly Hills. I passed a bunch of carpenters building a house. Oh, boy, what a screwy place.
Well, what are you fellas laughing at? It probably wasn't my house.
No, this is right next to a fish market.
That's Jack's place, all right. Now, wait a minute, Phil. That doesn't mean it was my house. There are a lot of fish markets.
Say, Kenny, was there a Turkish bath on the other side?
Yes, there was.
Wiggle out of that, Jack.
Say, maybe it was my place. What were the carpenters doing, Kenny? Were they busy?
I'll say they were selling lumber.
Selling lumber? I've warned them time and again. Mary, get me Mr. Burgess on the phone right away. Play, Phil. I'm going to get a bloodhound, so help me. Say, Phil, what was that number you just played?
Just a minute, Jack. I'll ask one of my boys. Hey, Frank, what was that number we just finished?
Oh, that moon's here again.
No, that was last week. I mean the one we just got through with.
Well, never mind, Phil.
No, I want to find out. Hey, Charlie, do you know what that number was?
Crestview 1478.
Not her. I mean the number we just played.
Now, Phil, look, you're the leader. You ought to have some idea what it was.
Well, how did I know you were going to ask me?
Good heavens, I've got to announce something. Mary, did you recognize the number Phil just played?
No, and neither did the guy that wrote it.
Oh, well, let it go. Anyway, folks, that was Something or Other from the picture of the same name, played by Phil Harris and his orchestra. And very good, Phil. And now, ladies and gentlemen, going from our mystery to our dramatic offering, tonight, for our feature attraction, the Benny Cut-Rate Theater Guild will present their version of that current Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer success, A Yank at Oxford.
Oh, boy, Robert Taylor was in there.
Yes, Mary, also Lionel Barrymore and Maureen O'Sullivan. Now, in our version, I will naturally play the part of Robert Taylor.
Why?
Why? Well, because Bob and I are very much alike. He's about as tall as I am, and we buy our handkerchiefs in the same drugstore. And we... Oh, really, we do. And we even like the same girl, Barbara Stanwyck.
Only he goes out with her.
Is that so? Say, I could get a date with Barbara Stanwyck, too, couldn't I, Mary?
You couldn't get a date with Barbara Fritchie.
Barbara Fritchie?
What studio is she with?
18th Century Fox, and keep still. Now, getting back to our drama, I will play the part of that track star and all-around athlete, Robert Benny, better known as Speedy. And Mary will be Maureen O'Livingston, my sweetheart.
Say, Jack, who's going to play your father? You know, Lionel Barrymore's part.
Well, I'll tell you, Mary, I've been trying to get Lionel Barrymore himself to play it. I've been sort of fishing around for him, but so far, no luck.
Why don't you put some money on the hook?
Don't tell me how to run my business. Anyway, I couldn't get Lionel Barrymore, but I did get a fellow who I think can handle the role very well. Mr. Lionel Kvetz. Is he here yet?
Here I am, Mr. Benny, just raring to go.
Now, Mr. Kvetz, you're sure you can play the part of my father all right, huh?
Well, I played Hamlet. Your old man ain't no better than he is.
Oh. Well, then I guess you'll do, huh?
But there's just one thing, Mr. Benny.
What's that?
I've been listening to Fred Allen, and according to what he says, I think I better get paid in advance.
Well, let me tell you something, Mr. Kvetz. Fred Allen should be the last guy in the world to say that I'm cheap.
Why, is he that way, too?
Now, listen. Any man that'll use the same toothbrush for 9 years and then have it re-bristled, well,
Gee whiz, he can't be that bad.
he can't, eh? Now, you may not believe this, Mr. Kvetz, but Allen makes his own underwear out of old flour sacks. His shorts have swan's down stamped on them.
Is that a fact?
Absolutely. I kicked him in the pants one day and started a dust storm. Well, that ought to take care of Mr. Allen for this week. And now that our play, A Yank at Oxford, is all cast, we will go on with it immediately after Kenny Baker's number. What are you going to sing, Kenny?
Good night, Angel, from Radio City Revels.
Oh, from Radio City Revels. Say, Kenny, you're in that picture, aren't you?
I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh. Well, you ought to know whether you made a picture or not.
Well, I know I was in the Golden Follies, by gosh.
Well, how do you happen to remember that?
A lamp fell on me.
Oh, well, brush the glass off your head and sing your song, will you?
Okay.
Sing, Kenny. Now, let's concentrate now and get in the mood of our play, everybody.
And me
say good night to you. The moon is murmuring above. Tomorrow is another day for love. Oh, good night, my angel. Thanks for another evening in heaven. Just one more kiss to end this perfect day before you spread your wings and fly away. Good night, my angel, until we meet again here in heaven. And may your dreams be just as sweet as you are. Good night, angel. Good
Good Night, Angel, sung by Kenny Baker. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to present
Well, wait a minute, Jack. Am I going to be in a play tonight?
Oh, sure, Kenny. You're going to be a young Englishman.
And why can't I be a professor at Oxford?
Well, in the first place, Kenny, you haven't any brains. And in the second place...
That's enough.
I think so. And now, folks, we are going to present our dramatic highlight of the evening, our own little vehicle, a Yank at Oxford, or a Cluck in Waukegan. Take it, Don.
The scene opens in the general store of Lionel Benny in the thriving little community of Waukegan, Illinois. His son, Robert, the star athlete of the town, is leaving that night for Oxford. Curtain, music.
Hello? Waukegan Emporium? Yes, Mrs. Smith? Yes? All right, I'll tell him. Goodbye. Oh, Dad?
What is it, Speedy?
Mrs. Smith says that the mousetrap you sold her yesterday is the wrong size.
Wrong size? How does she know?
She just caught a bear in it.
There ain't no bears around here. It must be her husband.
Well, I better tell her she's going to make a rug out of them.
Never mind that. Here, son, deliver this order of groceries to Mrs. Bunker. She lives at 216 Maple Street.
Well, that's only about a mile away, Dad. I can make it in no time. You know, I won the 100-yard dash this morning.
You did? Who did you run against?
Seabiscuit. Well, here I go, Pop. Here are your victuals, Mrs. Bunker.
Thanks.
Goodbye. Well, what's next, Pop?
Well, doggone, Speedy, you made that pretty fast. Now take this stepladder and get me that box of crackers off the top shelf.
I don't need a ladder, Paul. You know I hold the record for the high jump. Here I go. Ouch. Darn that low ceiling. Here are the crackers, Paul. Well, I better run home and pack my duds. You know, I'm leaving for Oxford tonight.
That's right, my boy. I hate to see you go, but you got to get a good education.
Yep.
Here's your steamship ticket from New York to London.
Steamship ticket? Keep it, Paul. I'm going to swim over.
Now, hold on, Speedy. Just because you swam across Lake Michigan don't mean you can swim the Atlantic Ocean.
That's right, Paul. Maybe I better take it easy. I'll row across.
That's the way to talk, my son. Say, did you tell Maureen you're leaving?
No, Dad, I didn't. I just couldn't bear to tell her. We've been going together for 8 years, and I'm afraid it'll break her heart.
I know, son. It'll be a great shock to her. Here she comes now.
Gosh, she looks pretty. Hello, Maureen.
Hello, Seedy.
That's Speedy. Gee, you look sweet, Marine. You're always so classy and stylish.
How do you like this new dress I knitted?
Oh, it's beautiful. Turn around. Let me see the back.
Oh, no, it isn't finished yet.
Now, listen, Marine. There's something I must tell you. Something that, gee, I don't know how to begin.
Well, I do. I want a can of corn, a pound of coffee, 3 lamb chops.
Marine, I must tell you. I'm leaving tonight for Oxford.
A dozen eggs.
Can't you understand, honey? I'll be gone 4 long years.
4 years, Bob?
Yes.
That's terrible. And a bottle of ketchup.
Now, don't take it so hard, gal. After all, it won't be forever. You'll be true to me while I'm gone, won't you?
Yes, Bob. I'll be as true as Ben Turpin with a bow and arrow.
That's the spirit. You're the sweetest, dearest girl I've ever known. Say you'll wait for me.
Why, Bob, I'll wait for you till the cows come home.
That's wonderful. When are they coming home?
Tomorrow.
Oh. Well, I gotta run along now and pack. Goodbye, Marine. So long, Dad. I'll see you both at the station.
Goodbye, son.
So long, Speedy.
Hey, Marine, watch me jump over the pickle barrel on the way out. Here I go. Oh, gee, it's the first time I've missed. Now I'm all dill.
We now take you to the railroad station where the whole town has turned out to see Speedy off. Listen to George Pritchard and his Philharmonic Orchestra.
Well, friends, as you all know, today I am bidding Waukegan adieu. I may not be the best student at Oxford, but I'll win every athletic event from ping-pong to screeno. Hooray! Thanks, friends, and I'll be seeing you in 4 years. Hooray! Of course, I may come back sooner. Ooh. But I doubt it. Hooray! Well, so long, Paul.
Goodbye, my boy. Take good care of yourself.
Well, Marine, aren't you going to kiss me goodbye?
I'll say I am.
And aren't you going to miss me, honey?
I'll say I am.
Gee, it looks like rain.
I'll say I am.
Oh, stop already. I say I am. Well, goodbye, darling.
Goodbye, Bob. Hurry back in 4 years.
I will, dear.
Come on, Marine. Let's go to a movie.
Okay, Stanislaus.
Stanislaus, who is this guy?
My new boyfriend. The cows came home early.
Oh, I see.
All aboard. Train leaving for Chicago, Cleveland, Buffalo, Syracuse, Albany, and a lot of places.
We now take you to the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, where we find Speedy Betty in a rowboat headed for dear old England.
Stroke. 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 16 days in a rowboat. Gee, I wish that shark would stop following me. What do you want, shark?
A cup of coffee, a sandwich, and you.
Stroke. Stroke. Oh, another boat. And look who's out there. Hello, FD. You're fishing kind of far out, ain't you? Stroke.
At last, our hero arrives in England, and now we pick him up on a road 15 miles out of London. He's lost and trying to find his way to Oxford.
Stroke. Oh, pardon me, folks. I'm on land now. Gee, I've been walking around for days, and no one seems to know where Oxford is. Pardon me, sir. Is this the right road to Oxford?
Oxford, old boy, my word. Is that in England?
Well, gee whiz, it's supposed to be.
Are you looking for Oxford on the Thames or Oxford on the Avon?
I want just plain Oxford.
What size?
9.5B. Oh, go away. Gee, somebody must know where Oxford is. Oh, I say, young fellow.
Hello, old thing.
Can you tell me how to get to Oxford?
Oxford, old thing?
Yes.
Well, old thing.
Stop calling me old thing. Now, do you know where Oxford is?
I don't even know where I am. Cheerio.
Cheerio. He's about as English as a hot dog.
2 weeks later, and our hero is still trying to find the road to Oxford. We pick him up in the little village of Marmalade on the Crumpet.
Gee, I'm so lonely and homesick. I wish I was back in Waukegan. I wonder what Marine is doing right now.
Kiss me, Stanislaus.
I'm sorry I asked. Oh, well. Gee, I hope I find that school pretty soon. Oh, I beg your pardon, ma'am.
Carry on.
How do I get to Oxford University?
Well, first you have to go through high school.
I've been through high school. Look, all I want to know is what road do I take to get to Oxford?
There's an inn right across the Y. Why don't you inquire there?
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you. My, what a quaint little restaurant. Ye Brown Derby. I think I'll get something to eat.
What ho, so help me fish and chips, another customer. How'd you do?
How'd you do? I'd like a ham sandwich, please.
Sorry,
and
we
a glass
haven't
of
any
milk.
ham, sir.
What's that?
Beg pardon?
I said I'd like a glass of milk.
I heard you. I say we haven't any ham, sir.
Oh.
We have Yorkshire pudding and stewed tripe and gooseberry treacle tarts.
Treacle tarts? I'll have a go at that. And give me a glass of milk.
Oh, come now, old boy. You want tea.
I want milk.
Don't be a silly ass. Have tea.
I'm not a silly arts, and I want milk. Now, you give me milk, or I'll tell Anthony Eden on you.
Say, Lord love duck, give over. How about Jell-O for dessert?
Jell-O? That'll be ripping.
Well, there it comes in 6 delicious flavors, you know. Strawberry, raspberry, cherry, orange, lemon, and limey.
Well, I'll have a lot of that. Oh, by the way, maybe you can help me. I've been having an awful time trying to find Oxford University.
Oxford? Do you spell it with an O?
You spell it with an ox. Now, how do I get there?
My, that is a stumper, isn't it? But there's an American sitting over at that table. Perhaps he can guide you. Why don't you ask him?
I will.
Well, pip, pip.
Pip, pip, and I do mean pip. Pardon me, sir. You're an American, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Well, maybe you can help me out. Do you know where Oxford is?
Why, certainly. I just came from there.
Oh, thank heaven. Now, how do I get there?
Well, you go right down this road until you come to a big stone mill.
Uh-huh.
And then your friend is seen aboard the state of me. You'll receive the right the right. The more receive for test is for receive the five stand me.
Uh-huh.
And my friend was sold for don't miss it minute. Oh, you can't miss it.
Now, wait. Look, I'm still at the old mill.
Well,
look,
I know. At the old mill, you turn to the right,
Yeah.
and you go on the secret force to spend me. Don't
you
go
mean
to
not the place that...
Oh, no, don't miss every miss it.
Oh, you mean
the right... The center of me is sitting up at practice board and seat.
Oh, you turn to the...
No, you just like part of serve back to me.
Oh, never mind. I'll go back to America. Maybe I can find Yale. Play.
Here's a way to give your family a cheerful springtime dessert tomorrow night. A swell new dessert that's quick and easy and sure to come out perfect. It's called Red Cherry Cup, and it's made with glowing cherry jello and canned red cherries. It's bright with color, it's crammed with fruit goodness, and it takes just next to no time to make. Dissolve 1 package of cherry jello in hot water and chill until slightly thickened. Then fold in 2 cups of seeded canned red cherries, turn into individual sherbet glasses, and chill until firm. Serve as is or topped with whipped cream. Either way, you've a prize winner. For cherry jello has a lovely crimson color and such a delicious extra-rich fruit flavor that it's hard to tell where the jello stops and the cherries begin. Just be sure to make your Red Cherry Cup with genuine jello, for jello brings you that tempting extra-rich fruit flavor. Order some jello tomorrow and try this grand dessert.
This is the last number of the 28th program in the new Jell-O series, and we'll be with you again next Sunday night at the same time. I hope you all liked our play, A Yank at Oxford.
Say, Jack.
What, Mary?
When I was in your father's store, I forgot to order a pound of cheese and a loaf of bread.
Look, Mary, that was only in the play.
I don't care. I'm hungry.
Well, so am I. Good night, folks.
Yankee L-L-O.
Kenny Baker appears on the Jell-O program through courtesy of Mervyn LeRoy Productions. This is the National Broadcasting
You're listening to HOJO Radio. More classic old-time radio coming your way next.
J-E-L-L-O! The Jell-O program starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston and Phil Harris and his orchestra. The orchestra opens the program with Cry, Baby, Cry. This is the day of the Easter parade, and there's a cheerful feeling in the air. Perky new hats, gay flowers, everything reflects the spirit of carefree spring. It's a day of color, and if you served Jell-O for your Easter dessert, you were right in the spirit of things. For a shimmering mold of bright, clear Jell-O is mighty gay and cheerful. The glowing reds of strawberry, raspberry, or cherry Jell-O, shiny orange, golden lemon, or sea green lime, you have a regular rainbow to choose from. And no matter which flavor you select, you're sure of a masterpiece. For Jell-O tastes as good as it looks. It's crammed with delicious, extra-rich fruit flavor. The flavor from fresh, ripe fruit. It's put there by a special process. It's sealed right in so it can't get out. It's caught and held for you to enjoy the minute you taste a shimmering spoonful. A delight to the eye and a thrill to the taste. That's Jell-O. But be absolutely sure you do get genuine Jell-O with that extra-rich fruit flavor. Look for the big red letters on the box. They spell Jell-O. That was Cry, Baby, Cry, played by the orchestra. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we bring you a man who is celebrating Easter with a new suit, new shirt, new tie, and new shoes that squeak, Jack Benny.
Yes, sir. Nice. Hello again. This is Jack Benny, who was also looking for a new announcer. And listen, Don, it was nice of you to mention my Easter outfit, but it so happens that my shoes do not squeak. They might chirp a little because they're happy. But they do not squeak.
Why, Jack, I heard you when you came into the studio. You sounded like a rusty beer sign in the wind.
Now, Don, every new shoe has a little something to say, but I repeat, mine do not squeak.
All right, then, just walk around the microphone and see what happens.
Okay, Smarty.
Well, what do you think of your shoes now?
Well, naturally, they're a little nervous. It's the first time they've ever been on the air. But say, Don, you're kind of dolled up for Easter yourself. That's a nice-looking suit you're wearing.
Well, thanks, Jack. I just bought it last week.
It's very snappy. Where'd you get it?
Well, Hart Schaffner and Marks made the pants.
Hart Schaffner and Marks. I knew it wasn't a one-man job. Did they make the coat, too?
Well, Jack, they put in a bid on it, but I finally awarded the contract to the Tri-State Construction Company.
Oh, yes, they also did the Boulder Dam. Or something big. Say, Don, come here a minute. Look at Phil standing over there. Isn't it disgraceful the way he comes dressed on a holiday?
Well, it isn't very good taste.
Come here, Phil.
What is it, Jack?
You want to know a funny thing? Here I bother to get all dressed up for Easter with a new suit and shoes and spend hours fixing myself up. And you come to the studio with slacks, an old sport coat, and no necktie.
Yeah, and you want to know another funny thing?
What?
I still look better than you do.
You do not. And I'll leave it to anyone here. In fact, I'll leave it to the boys in your band. Which of us is dressed better for Easter?
What do they know? They tried to buy firecrackers today.
Well, that's a nice organization you've got. Don't tell me they all thought today was the 4th of July.
No, the drummer held out for St. Patrick's Day.
Oh. Yes, I see the shamrock on the cymbal. Well, Phil, your boys might be mixed up about holidays, but when it comes to music, they're mixed up. Oh, hello, Mary.
Hello, Jack. Happy Easter.
Thanks. Same to you, kid.
Gee, you look so cute in the Easter parade this morning, all dressed up in your new spring suit.
Oh, I wasn't out there to show off or anything. I like to walk down the boulevard on Easter. Everybody does.
So you were in the parade this morning, huh, Jack?
I certainly was.
You should have seen him, fella, strutting along with a cane on his hand and a flower in his lapel, and he was wearing the swellest derby hat.
Oh, Mary.
Way down over his ears.
Well, it was a little too big. I bought it before I got my hair cut like a darn fool.
And you should have seen that funny double-breasted suit he was wearing.
Well, what was wrong with it? That coat fit me like a dummy in a window.
Well, you should have stayed there.
Well, after all, Mary, I don't have to spend a fortune for a little Easter outfit.
You're right, Jack.
Yeah.
Tell him what happened on the boulevard this morning.
Never mind that.
What was it, Mary?
Well, Jack was strutting along in his new suit, proud as a peacock.
I was just walking.
Go ahead, Mary.
Well...
Oh, you're silly.
Well, he was walking along, and all of a sudden, a man behind him sneezed.
He sneezed, eh? And then what happened?
Jack's coat shrunk 4 inches.
Oh, well.
Is that right, Jack?
Yeah, before I could say Gesundheit, I was nearly strangled. Anyway, what if it did shrink a little? Who cares?
Oh, Jack.
Oh, hello, Kenny.
Come here a minute, will you?
What is it?
Well, come over here. It's important.
I can imagine. Okay. Oh, darn these shoes. Huh?
Hey, what's that noise?
A squeak at Oxford.
All right, now what is it, Kenny?
Well, I did something last week, and I don't know whether I ought to tell you.
Well, you called me over here, didn't you?
Well, if I tell you, will you promise you won't fire me for it?
Yes, I promise. What did you do?
Well, I listened to Fred Allen Wednesday night.
Oh, you mean the guy that wears flour sack candies? Well, Kenny, I don't care who you listen to.
I heard Fred Allen, too, Jack, and the way he ran you down, you ought to do something about it.
Well, I'll admit he is a bit of a nuisance, but what can I do?
Why don't you have him bumped off?
Bumped off?
You know, take him for a drive.
Drive? You mean ride. Take him for a drive.
Well, you ought to do something about it. Alan keeps saying you're cheap all the time.
Oh, he does, eh? Well, he's got a lot of nerve to talk about me. Any man that'll open a can of sardines, eat them, and then save the tails for hash, well... Glad I didn't blow that line, too. Don't tell me about that guy.
Yeah, and another thing. He said your toupee didn't fit.
Now, that's a big lie because I don't even wear one. Mary, look at the top of my head. What do you see there?
A parking lot.
Well, let's forget my head and Alan and everything else. Go ahead and sing your song, Kenny.
Okay.
Oh, Jack, wait a minute. I just thought of something awful.
What's that?
Here it is, Easter, and I forgot to write a poem.
Well, Mary, what will people think? Now, you go ahead and write one while Kenny sings, and work hard on it.
Oh, her and her old poems.
Oh, yeah, you and your old songs.
Well, my songs are better than your poems.
Now, children! Sing, Kenny. Oh, me and my new shoes. I'm sorry I tore off that guarantee.
There's a song in the air, but the fair senorita doesn't seem to care for the song in the air. So I'll sing to the mule if you're sure she won't think that I am just a fool serenading a mule. She listens carefully to each little tune I play. La bella senorita, she'd love to sing it too if only she knew the way.
That was Donkey Serenade from the Firefly, sung by Kenny Baker. Donkey Serenade. It's kind of a silly title, isn't it, Kenny?
Silly?
Sure. After all, who would serenade a donkey?
A jackass, Jack.
Well, hey, that's right, come to think of it. Hey, Mary, are you coming along with your poem?
I need one more verse. I'll be through in a minute.
Well, hurry it up. We haven't got anything to do here.
Oh, we haven't, eh? Well, ladies and gentlemen, while you're waiting for Miss Livingston's poem, why don't you skip out in your kitchen and prepare a dish of Jell-O? It's tempting, easy to make, and comes in 6 delicious flavors.
I'm all finished, Don.
Well, I'm not. Strawberry, raspberry, cherry, orange, lemon, and lime.
Look for the big red letters on the box.
Oh, Happy Easter, Happy Easter. You are
Well,
with
wait
us
a minute, Mary. Wait a minute. Take it easy. Now, what's the name of your poem?
Easter Greetings by Mary O. Livingston.
Now, what's the O for?
Oh, Happy Easter, Happy Easter. You are with us once again. With your Easter eggs so tempting, summer candy, summer hen.
Well, that makes sense, yeah.
Boys and girls all dressed up pretty parade the streets in every city and all show off their Easter stuff, even though it's on the cuff.
Now, that's a little too personal, I think, Mary.
I like to smell your Easter lilies. Your hot cross buns I love to tackle.
Oh.
Your rabbits all lay eggs, they say. But, gee, I never heard one cackle.
Tackle. Now, that's just loony.
Say, Jack, did Longfellow work with a stooge?
No.
Then keep still. Last verse.
That's good.
So I salute you, Happy Easter, with one hip-hip and two hurrahs. Until you come next year to greet us, I say farewell. The end. Applause.
Well, you got a nice hand there, Mary, but you asked for it. Do you think that's ethical?
No, but it's short.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got something there. There's nothing like going after it yourself.
Say, Jack.
Yes, Phil?
What are we stalling for? When are we going to do something interesting?
Well, Phil, we're doing the best we can. If it's dull here, why don't you pick up your orchestra and go home?
That's what I say.
Thanks, Kenny, and mind your own business. He always comes to at the wrong time.
What I meant, Jack, are we going to do a play tonight?
No, Phil, we don't have to do a play every Sunday night. What is this, a stock company?
No, but I just thought we ought to.
Well, putting on a play week after week is no picnic, you know.
But people seem to like them.
Yes, but gee whiz, do you think it's easy? Do you think it's necessary?
It's none of my business.
I'm talking to Phil. Kenneth. Anyway, fellas, I'll tell you what I've planned to do, and it's a surprise. We're going to cut the program short tonight, and I'm going to treat you all to the Al G. Barnes Sells Floto Circus. Now, what do you think of that? Yes, sir. Now, remember, fellas, it's my treat. A man gave me 5 passes for tonight's show.
Passes? How'd you get them?
Well, I've got a friend with the circus, and besides, I let him put posters up all over my new house. You know? I won't be moving in for quite a while, you know.
Say, Jack, you know, I happened to drive by your new house last night. It's coming along fine, isn't it?
Yeah, and did you notice all those circus posters with lions and snakes and zebras all over them?
Yes, sir. I threw my jug right out the window.
Oh, you did, huh? Well, tonight you're invited to see the real thing. We'll have a lot of fun, too.
I'm terribly sorry, Jack. I'd love to go, but I got a blind date tonight.
Oh, you and your blind dates. Well, I guess you're stuck, Phil. How about going now, fellas? We'll just about make it.
Oh, sir, I think you better hurry.
Wait a minute. Come in. Well.
Hiya, Buck.
Well, hello, Andy. Say, you're just in time. We're all going to the circus, and I got a pass for you, too. You want to come along?
Sure, Buck. I got an aunt with that show. She's the bearded lady.
Your aunt? How did she happen to become a bearded lady?
Oh, she just got tired of shaving one day.
Oh, well, come on, let's go. Oh, by the way, Andy, I meant to ask you, did your pa buy that airplane you were telling me about?
Oh, sure. He's been flying around in it all week.
Already? Say, he's learning fast, isn't he?
Yeah, too fast. Yesterday he was practicing a loop-the-loop and he fell out.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, lucky thing he had on a parachute.
Well, I'll say it was lucky.
Too bad he forgot to open it.
What? My goodness, he fell right down to the ground, eh? Gee, he must have hit it pretty hard.
I'll say he did. He swallowed his chewing tobacco.
Well, I'm glad it was nothing more serious.
Come on, Jack, let's go.
All right, wait, let's see if I've got the passes. Yeah, we're all set. Come on, fellas.
All right.
Hey, Phil, take care of the show from now on.
Okay. Well, fellas, let's play the next number and go home.
What'll we play?
Oh, anything. Squeaky shoes won't know the difference. You ready, boys? Wait a minute, hold everything. Come in.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Have you got a blind date tonight?
Yes, I have.
Well, don't keep Mama out late. Goodbye.
All right, boys. Play slow. I'm in no hurry.
are. There's a big crowd, so everybody stick close to me.
We've got a little time to kill before the big show goes on.
Well, what'll we do first?
I want to see the elephant.
I want to get my girl's name tattooed on my chest.
What's her name, Kenny?
Genevieve Kartzenborgen Pepper.
You better get another girl or a bigger chest. It's a fine name.
Where's the fat lady? I'd like to see her.
She'd like to see you, too. Hey, she'd go for you.
Oh, Jack.
What?
Look at the India rubber man over there.
Oh, yes. Hey, that is the India rubber man.
He must have a cold.
A cold? Why?
He just tied his nose in a knot.
Say, I must try that sometime. It'll save handkerchiefs.
Hey, fellas, get a load of the wild man of Borneo.
Look at him there in that cage.
He's a tough-looking mug. Let's go over and talk to him.
Coo, 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 coo. Now!
Oh, boy, he is ferocious. Hello, wild man. Tell me, what makes you so wild?
It's town hall tonight.
Oh. Very well, I can understand that.
Balloons. Get them out there blowing up. Balloons.
Oh, Jack, buy me a balloon.
Yeah, I want one, too. That pretty pink one.
Say, that is pretty. Do you want a balloon, Kenny?
Nah, that's for children. I want a Tom Collins.
Kenny, you don't even know what a Tom Collins is.
I do, too. It's a hard-boiled lemonade.
All right, stop showing off.
Hello, Mr. Benny.
Why, Rochester.
I thought you was at NBC Broadcasting.
Yeah, and I thought you were home where you should be, working.
Well, here we are at the circus.
Well, now that you're here, you can stay, but don't let it happen again.
Yes, sir. Say, boss,
Well?
are you in the mood for a little conference in the field of finance?
Oh, so you're broke again, eh? What happened to that $5 I gave you last night?
The what?
I gave you $5 last night. Now, what did you do with it?
I sent that out to fight the recession.
Now, tell me the truth, Rochester. What did you do with that money?
I went to the barber shop.
Now, that's ridiculous. How could you spend $5 in a barber shop?
The barber threw a 7.
Well, here's $1. That's all you're going to get. Now, run along.
Thanks, boss. Here I come, Josephine.
That boy can't hold on to a dime.
Gee, I'm hungry. I'm going over and get a hot dog.
Yeah, me too.
I could go for one myself.
Hot dogs. Get your hot dogs here. Get them while they're red hot.
Hey, I thought you were selling balloons.
Wait till you taste the hot dog.
Oh, I see. Well, we don't want any.
Hey, Jack, look. They're lining up the freaks for the sideshow.
Right this way, ladies and gentlemen. Our sideshow's about to begin. We have with us the greatest and most stupendous aggregation of freaks and curiosities this world has ever seen.
Come on, fellas. Let's get a load of this.
And now, right over here on my right, we have Elmer, the living skeleton. Why, this man is so thin we can't weigh him. Keeps blowing off the scale.
A living skeleton. I'll bet he weighs 150 pounds.
Go on, your shoes squeak.
How does he know?
Now, over here on my left, we have Mademoiselle Lulu, the greatest snake charmer that ever made a cobra say uncle. Well, hello, Lulu.
Hello, Andy.
Why, Andy, do you know the snake charmer?
Sure, I used to know her when she played with worms.
Oh, way back when, eh?
And right over here, we have one of the greatest novelties on the face of the globe. Sailor Smith, the tattooed man. Pictures from head to toe.
Tattooed man. Why, there's hardly a mark on his body.
We sent him to the laundry and shut up.
Shut up yourself, you old windbag.
And right over here, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new attraction. The man with the pin head.
Where?
I'm looking at you.
Oh.
Why don't you keep quiet, Jack?
The nerve of that guy saying I had a head like a pin.
Yeah, how could he tell with your hat on?
Wise guy.
And now, folks, last but not least, for the real sensation of the evening, we have with us none other than that famous Oriental dancer, Princess Zaza, direct from Cairo, Egypt. Yes, sir, she dances. She shakes and she quivers.
Oh, boy, that's my dish.
Kenny!
Right inside, folks. Princess Zaza goes on immediately.
Come on, fellas, let's go in.
Yeah.
See you later, you little cut-up.
Wait a minute, Jack. We haven't time to go in here. The big show starts right away.
Yeah, we got to go over there, darn it.
Have you got your passes, Jack?
Here they are. I've got to exchange them at the box office. Well, here we are, fellas.
Yes, sir. How many?
I'd like to exchange these for tickets. I've got 5 passes. Here you are.
Listen, buddy, these passes are good, all right, but not for tonight. These are for the matinee.
Matinee. The man that gave them to me said they were for tonight.
I can't help what he said. These are for the matinee.
Matinee or no matinee? It's a fine howdy. I'm going right home and rip those posters off my house.
Go ahead. We're leaving town tonight anyway.
Well, this is the dirtiest trick that I've ever...
Move along, buddy. We're holding up the line there.
Well, I've never heard of such a rotten thing in all my life.
Oh, Jack, why haggle about it? Why don't you buy tickets?
Sure, Buck. A couple of dollars won't take
Now,
you.
listen, fellas, it's not the money, it's the principle of the thing.
Oh, come on, Jack. Come on. If you feel that way about it, I'll buy the ticket.
Oh, no, Don. You can take us out to supper later. But we're going to get into this circus for nothing. Now, follow me.
Hey, the main entrance is over that way.
I know what I'm doing. They're not going to put anything over on me. Come on around to the back. Now, quiet, everybody. I'll show those guys. Now, look nonchalant, fellas.
I know what's coming.
Now, wait. Here's a good place. Lift the tent, Kenny, and we'll all crawl under.
Oh, gee whiz.
Jack, we don't want to do it.
Oh, don't be afraid. Now, come on. Now, listen, fellas. Mary, Kenny, and I will go in first. And, Don, you and Andy can watch until I give you the signal to come in. Now, come on. Follow me under the tent. Woo! Kenny, don't push. Now, quiet, everybody.
Gee, this is like going to the circus with Harry Lauder.
All right, here we are, up on your feet. Well, here we are on the inside. What's wrong with this?
Hey, Jack, look at these bars over here. What are they for?
That's a cage, Kenny. There are lions on the other side.
Oh, yeah? Turn around, Jack.
Oh, for goodness sake! Oh, hey! Come on! Kenny, wait for me! Jack! Go away! Calling Frank Buck! Calling Frank Buck!
Something new, something different, something swell to eat. And here it is, and you'll all want to try it. It's called golden apricot pie, the most unusual dessert you've served in a long time. Made with delicious orange jello combined with apricots, and it's easy to make, and here's what you do. First, dissolve 1 package of orange jello in hot water and chill until thickened. Then combine half a pound of cooked dried apricots with a 1/4 cup of sugar. Fold the apricots into the thickened jello and turn into a cold baked pie shell. Chill until firm, cover with whipped cream, and give your family a grand new treat. For golden apricot pie is really swell. Fragrant, fruit-rich orange jello molded with apricots under a blanket of fluffy whipped cream. A beautiful combination to look at, a delicious one to taste. Just be sure to make your apricot pie with genuine jello, for only jello brings you jello's extra rich fruit flavor. So try this delicious new pie for dessert. Order jello from your grocer tomorrow.
The last number of the 29th program of the new Jello series. I'll be with you again next Sunday night at the same time. Well, folks, I'm all out of breath, but I got away from that lion. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to announce that next Sunday night we are going to present the highlight of our entire season. We are going to offer our version of Walt Disney's greatest film success, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So be sure and listen in.
Say, Jack, have you seen the picture yet?
No, Mary, but I'm going to see it tonight. I've got passes. Do you want to come along?
No, I'm not going to sneak under the Carthay Circle.
Good night, folks.
J-E-L-L-O.
Here's an important announcement. Starting this week, Robert L. Ripley's Believe It or Not program will be heard Tuesday night instead of Saturday over most of these same stations. Be sure to see your local newspaper for the new time. Daylight saving begins in some parts of the country next Sunday. This will bring a change in time for the JELO program on some of these stations. Consult your local newspaper for schedule of your station. Kenny Baker appears on the JELO program through courtesy of Mervyn LeRoy Productions. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Our next popular broadcast began in August of 1949 on NBC Radio and ran until November of 1953. Set in the Midwest, it starred Robert Young as General Insurance Agent Jim Anderson and portrayed an idealized vision of middle-class American life of the era. It was created by writer Ed James. While the show is often regarded as an example of conservative nature of the American family life in the 1950s, it's also cited as to be slightly rosy portrayal as well. We proudly present to you Father Knows Best on HOJO Radio.
Mother, our post for...
To most of us, opening the morning mail is a routine affair. Routine, and yet opening the mail is something more. It's a high adventure, because sometimes the contents of the mildest-looking envelope can produce a surprising chain reaction. A case in point is Jim Anderson, Esquire. Post office address, the White Frame House at 607 Maple Street. We find Jim at the mailbox, like this.
Are those my magazines, Jim?
Yes, dear. A couple of letters for Betty, a couple for Bud.
That one's for me, and that one.
Only one left. That's for Kathy. How about that? I had 5 pounds of mail when I started.
Cheer up, dear. I made a mistake. This one is for you. It's postmarked Chicago.
Now, who do I know in Chicago?
You could open the letter and find out.
Well, Mr. James Anderson, 607 Maple Street, Springfield, etc., etc. Dear Bonehead.
Bonehead?
The personal touch. Now I know who it's from. Chicago Association, looking forward to kindest regards. Cordially, Nelson W. Bothwell, Executive Secretary. Well, that's out.
Nelson W. Bothwell? Sounds impressive.
No, I guess old Nellie's a big wheel now.
Nellie?
We went to school together. He's with the Underwriters Association. But we can't go. I'm going back in the house.
Can't go where?
Oh, thought I told you. There's an insurance underwriters convention in Chicago again this year. Old Nelson hasn't heard from me, so he took the trouble to extend a very personal invitation. Nice guy.
Not when he calls my husband a bonehead. The idea.
Oh, I don't know. Bonehead Anderson. It has a nice ring to it.
Jim, I know you'd love to go to Chicago. You haven't been anywhere in ages.
Well, we'll go next year.
But you should get away.
What about you? You could use a little time off yourself. Just think of it, honey. We'll be free as birds someday. Just the two of us. Tell you what, when the kids grow up, we'll sell the house.
Sell our house?
Sure. We could move into a small apartment. Or maybe buy a trailer.
Oh, you're joking.
The heck I am. No grass to mow, no leaky roofs. Just park alongside some trout stream, drop a line, and that's dinner. Boy, that's living.
Hi, Mom, Dad.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Betty, Bud.
Good morning, children. I'll go fix breakfast.
Father,
Dad,
there's something I want to ask you.
Well, business is brisk. Okay, who's first? Shoot.
I'll talk to you, Father, when Bud's finished.
What's on your mind, son?
Well, Dad, gosh, well, the guys are all going up to Beaver Lake. They're going to camp out over the weekend.
Beaver Lake. Oh. A man could take a trailer up to Beaver Lake and practically live off the country.
Clint Taylor's father's letting us have his station wagon. Gee, Dad, it's all arranged, and the guys are counting on me. Can I go, Dad?
Broiled bacon over an open fire. I can even smell it.
Breakfast in a minute, dear.
Oh. Son, when you get a chance to camp out, don't let anybody talk you out of it. You just pick up and go.
Holy cow, I didn't even have to argue.
Bud seems pleased.
I insisted he go up to Beaver Lake for the weekend.
Insisted?
Yes, he's going with the gang. It'll do him a world of good.
You'd better take some warm clothes. The nights are getting cool. Well, breakfast is ready. Come and get it.
Coming.
Morning, Daddy.
Good morning, kitten.
Have some toast, Dad. Oh, boy, Beaver Lake.
Any mail for me?
On the living room table. And there's a letter for you, too, kitten.
Oh, that must be from Maxine Turner. I'll go get it. Gee whiz, my old letter.
May I go too, Mom? I gotta start packing.
I suppose so. This breakfast is turning into a shambles anyway.
Father, how do you feel about travel?
Well, offhand, I'd say it's an educational experience. Meet new people, see new places.
Oh, I'm so glad you approve. Frankly, Father, I expected a certain amount of resistance.
You're a little ahead of me, Princess. I approve of what?
Of my going to Grantsville over the weekend. The College Glee Club is going to compete in the music festival over there. It's just for the weekend.
Well, this is pretty sudden. Your mother and I'll have to think this over.
Ralph is right. You're overprotective.
I'll listen to Ralph when he has a family of his own.
Well, Dean Norton and his wife will be in charge. It'll be a wonderful trip. Simply dreamy.
But where'll you stay? 3 whole days, Princess.
At the sorority house. Oh, Father, this is the 20th century.
I know. That's just one more thing that bothers me. Margaret, what do you think?
I'm all for it. It should be an interesting experience.
Oh, Mother, you're a darling. I've got to get my things together.
Betty, come back here. I haven't even told her she could go yet.
Jim, you know you're going to say yes.
Well, true. But I'd like the pleasure of hearing myself say it. What's with this outfit anyway? First Bud and now Betty.
Children grow up. They have their own interests.
Everybody rushing off? Everybody but Father.
No, it's not that bad. We can enjoy a nice, quiet weekend.
Suits me fine. I can get in a little reading.
I wish you'd get at some of those old magazines, Jim. Your den is practically a fire hazard.
Well, don't give them away. I'll read them. In time. Oh, I meant to tell you, Margaret, I just subscribed to a new one.
Not another magazine.
Now, this one's different. It's the American Trailer. For those carefree spirits who respond to the lure of the open road.
The open road? Jim, you haven't been 20 miles from Springfield since the day you fell asleep on the bus and woke up at the end of the line.
You see, it's like I've been saying all along. Beneath this drab exterior beats the restless heart of a wanderer, a nomad, of...
A hobo?
I prefer to think of myself as a free soul. A man who struck off the shackles of care and responsibility. Where's Kathy? Kathy, where are you?
Here I am, Daddy. I was reading my letter. It was from Maxine.
No, Kathy. At least she hasn't flown the nest. Who's Maxine?
She's my friend. We're true blue pals. We've got secrets.
That's nice.
Maxine sent me an invitation. She wants me to be her house guest for the weekend.
For Pete's sake, this is turning into an exodus. Where does Maxine live?
2 blocks from here. She's my friend. We're true blue pals.
I know. You've got secrets. If there's anything funny about this, Margaret, I'm afraid the humor escapes me.
Bud and Betty can go anywhere they want to.
But, Kitten, you're only a little girl.
I don't care. I want to go away, too.
You reason with her, Margaret. What's hit this family, anyway?
Are you sure, Angel, that you want to spend a whole weekend with Maxine?
She's my friend. We're true blue pals.
Damon and Pythias. Harry and Bess. Now, Kathy and Maxine.
I
want to be a house guest. Maxine invited me.
And she's your friend.
Jim. But, Kathy, you've never spent a night away from home.
They only live 2 blocks down the street. And Mrs. Turner is so nice, Mommy.
Kathy, I want you to think before you answer. Are you sure you want to go?
Sure, I'm sure. Gee whiz.
Well, let her go, Margaret.
Oh, boy, I'm going to be a house guest. I got to go pack my things.
Even Kathy can't get out fast enough. What are we, Margaret? A couple of Simon Legrees?
It's just the idea of the change, the excitement of it all.
A house guest. 2 blocks down the street.
I still think it's funny.
But, Margaret, look at it this way. An hour ago, we had 3 children.
Betty, Bud, and Kathy.
And what have we got now? A second alto with a college glee club, a boy camper at Beaver Lake, and a little girl who wants to leave home to become a house guest.
What kind of talk is that for a wanderer, a nomad,
Maybe I have been the heavy parent, honey. Hey, wait a minute. That makes it perfect. Made to order.
I'm afraid, Jim, I don't follow.
Margaret, you're not thinking. What's to stop us from going now?
Going where?
To the convention, of course, over the weekend.
Jim, all the way to Chicago?
Why not? The kids will be gone. There's nothing to keep us here.
That's true, but...
Margaret, when opportunity knocks, don't complain about the noise. Get a hammer and help the man beat down the door. Now, with these mass movements, must be ranked the weekend exodus of the Andersons. Betty's going on a trip with the college glee club. Bud's getting ready for a camping expedition. And Kathy's little friend has invited her to be a house guest. That leaves Jim and Margaret, who are taking advantage of their new freedom, to make a trip of their own to Chicago. Naturally, all this requires preparation. Like this.
Anybody seen my wool socks? Hey, Shrimp.
What are you looking at me for? What would I do with your old socks?
Last year, you cut holes in my argyles and pulled them over your head for a Halloween mask.
Gee whiz, I was little then. Now I'm going to be a house guest. Maxine's my friend, my true blue pal. We've got secrets.
Murder.
Kathy, have you seen her, Bud?
The house guest? Try that suitcase. She's got her head in it.
I'm packing. Let me see that bag. I thought so. My new silk scarf. Mother!
What is it, Betty?
This time I caught her red-handed. Bud's my witness.
Margaret, where are you?
In the living room, dear. Now, one at a time.
Mom, have you seen my wool socks?
What we need around here is a little organization.
Mother, she's simply got to keep her hands off my things.
Your mother has enough to do without keeping track of your things and settling your petty arguments.
I don't mind, Jim. I'm almost packed.
Are you going somewhere, Mother?
I'll say she is.
Your father and I are going to Chicago for the weekend.
We're going to take in the convention, do the town, live in riotous splendor for 3 whole days.
Good for you.
Gee, Dad, that's swell.
I'd rather be a house guest.
I know. Maxine's your friend.
Let me help you pack, Kathy.
I'm finished, and I did it all by myself.
Well, now, Kathy, I want you to be a good little girl, polite and considerate at all times.
Oh, I will, Mommy, I will.
Have you got a handkerchief? A clean one?
Sure. See? 2. My new linen handkerchief. This is the end.
Oh, let her have them, Betty.
After all, she's a house guest. Say goodbye to your mother, Kathy, and I'll walk you down.
I'm a big girl. I can go by myself.
Well...
Dad, it's only 2 blocks. Short ones.
Oh, I'll get it. It's probably for me. Hello? Who? Oh, Kathy. It's for me. Excuse me.
Big stuff. She got a phone call.
Maxine, I'm all packed. I was just leaving.
How about that, Margaret? She wants to go alone.
It's only 2 short blocks.
That child is getting completely out of hand.
It's the wild, younger generation.
Well, she's certainly striking out for herself, and at a pretty tender age.
I must admit, dear, she seems quite the young lady.
She seems so casual, so detached.
I think she's disgustingly calloused. I'm going now. Maxine's waiting.
Aren't you even going to say goodbye?
Sure. Goodbye, Mommy. Goodbye, Daddy.
So long, Marco Polo.
Well, what are you waiting for? Gee whiz. I'm leaving. Here's your suitcase. Thanks, Betty. I'll take good care of your handkerchiefs.
The door's that way, traveler.
Well, goodbye. 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 Daddy, Mommy, I'm homesick.
Holy cow, and she isn't even out of the house.
There, Dad.
Kathy, Angel, give me your handkerchief.
I don't want to leave you and Daddy.
Of course. Now blow like a good girl.
My new linen handkerchief.
Some traveler. I thought Maxine was her friend.
Her true blue pal.
Cut it out, you two.
Well, there goes our trip to Chicago.
I'm afraid so, dear. Kathy, honey, let's go to your room.
We'll go next year for sure. Bud.
Yes, Dad?
Get the bags out of the car, will you?
Okay. Women. Even the little girls are unpredictable.
Wait for me, Bud. I'll help. What are we going to do about it, Bud?
Do? About what?
It isn't fair. Father's been dreaming of a trip to Chicago for years. He and Mother need a change.
Shrimp really tossed a monkey wrench in the machinery. She had us all fooled, that little faker.
Bud, I've got an idea. We'll give up our weekend. We'll stay home with Kathy so Mother and Father can go to Chicago.
I knew it. When you get that Joan of Arc look in your eyes, I'm in trouble. Oh, there goes Beaver Lake.
And what about my trip with the Glee Club?
I guess being noble is harder for a man. Okay, sis, let's go in and tell them.
Bud, did you bring in the luggage?
Mom, Betty and I would like to talk with you.
Bud and I have an idea. We've decided to stay home with Kathy.
We'll take care of her, Mom. We want you and Dad to make that trip to Chicago.
You're both being sweet about this.
We mean it, Mother. You and Father need some fun.
Yeah, even parents are people.
But we couldn't deprive you of your own pleasure.
Oh.
Well, it doesn't seem fair. Anyway, I don't know about your father.
We'll ask him.
Bud?
Right here, Dad.
Where did you put the bags?
Well, Dad,
Poor Kathy.
Is she still in the room, dear?
Mm-hmm. All dressed up and no place to go. Well, Margaret, looks like we're going to have that quiet weekend after all.
Father, you and Mother have got to make that trip.
We'll make it all right. Next year.
We want you to make it now, Dad.
Bud and I are going to stay home with Kathy, Father.
The children have offered to give up their weekends, dear.
Oh. Well, that's very generous.
Who wants to ride on a crowded bus full of college kids, singing and laughing? It's so immature, so utterly infantile.
Beaver Lake, fishing, swimming, canoeing all day. If there's one thing I hate, it's routine.
Look, kids, I haven't seen such terrible acting since they did Charlie's Aunt at the PTA.
Holy cow.
Children, you heard your father, and I agree with him.
Betty, Bud, I think you're fine. But we couldn't enjoy ourselves at your expense. It wouldn't work.
It's Kathy's fault. I'd like to shake her. I'll get it. It's probably for me. Hello? Who? No. Kathy, telephone. Wouldn't you know, it's Maxine again.
She really is a true blue pal. Bud, where'd you put the luggage?
I left it in the car, Dad. I thought you might change your mind. I'll get it.
Maybe it's for the best, Jim.
Sure. We'll get there next year. What's the rush?
Father, are you going to let Kathy tie up the phone all morning?
Is she still yakking with Maxine?
I'll talk to her.
Never mind, Mother. She's coming now.
She's carrying a suitcase.
Kathy, where are you going?
Over to Maxine's. I'm going to be a house guest.
But, Kitten, I thought you were homesick.
I was, but I changed my mind.
Well, it's a woman's prerogative, I guess.
Goodbye, everybody.
Here, let me open the door for you, Angel.
Kathy, are you sure you won't be lonely?
Oh, no, Mommy. Maxine's my friend.
We've been through all that, honey. Who are you waving at now?
I'm saying goodbye to Teddy.
Holy cow, waving goodbye to a teddy bear.
She's had it since she was a baby.
Well, he's my friend, too. Goodbye, Teddy. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, dear.
She'll be good.
Well, that's that, I hope.
She'll be all right now, Jim.
I think so, too. Bud.
I know. Put the bags back in the car.
I can't believe Kathy's really gone.
All's well that ends well. Are you ready, Betty?
Can we give you a lift, Princess?
Oh, thanks, Father, but Ralph's taking me to the station.
The bags are in the car, Dad.
Thanks, Bud.
Oh, that's Ralph now.
What a horn. Sounds like a lovesick move.
Goodbye, Princess. Have fun.
You too, Father.
Goodbye, dear. Tell Ralph to be careful.
Oh, Bud.
I know. Carry Betty's bag out to the car. Hey, I've got an idea. Maybe Ralph can drive me over to Clint Taylor's. The gang's leaving from his house.
Well, Ralph will be glad to.
Boy, I've sure got a lot of stuff. Dad.
I know. Help you carry it out to the car. Serves me right.
Are you sure you have enough clothes, Betty?
I think so, Mother. My beige linen, that little peasant blouse.
Perhaps just one warm thing, in case the weather changes.
I've got my blue sweater.
That's fine. Well, have a lovely trip, dear.
Hey, Betty, come on.
Your pumpkin coach is waiting, Princess. I only wish it were a car.
Goodbye, Father. Have a big time in Chicago. I'm coming.
Alone at last.
It's been a hectic morning. It's hard to believe we're practically on our way.
3 glorious days.
No cares or responsibilities.
We're going to live it up. Every minute.
Just the two of us.
There's a little Italian restaurant, Margaret. The Studio, I think they call it. Margaret, what are you thinking about?
Oh, Betty's blue sweater. I wonder if she really took it along.
Margaret, the girl's singing with a glee club. She's not going to play ice hockey.
I suppose so. Jim.
What is it now?
Did Bud ever find those heavy wool socks?
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Be patient with me, Jim. I'll only be a minute. I found Betty's blue sweater and Bud's heavy wool socks.
What did you use, a divining rod? Be sensible, Margaret.
The nights can get cool this time of year, especially at Beaver Lake.
Look, Bud's one half polar bear and the other half Eskimo. Those icy showers that kid takes? Okay. Well, let's take off. Got everything?
I think so.
I just remembered something, Margaret. Be with you in a minute.
I hope everything turns out all right.
Why shouldn't it? Don't be a problem parent, honey. Don't be what Betty calls overprotective.
I'll try.
Good girl. Come on. Get in the car. Oh, let me have that package.
No, I'll just carry it.
Nonsense. Give it to me. I'll put it in the trunk.
Jim, no. Oh. Now look what you've done.
Betty's sweater and Bud's socks. For Pete's sake.
I couldn't help it, Jim.
Margaret, you can't live your children's lives for them. Have them, love them, and then leave them alone, I always said.
I suppose you're right. Jim.
Something wrong?
There seems to be something furry under the seat.
Oh, that.
For goodness sake.
Believe me, Margaret, it's nothing.
It's Kathy's teddy bear. Oh, Jim.
Well, the poor kid probably won't be able to sleep a wink without it. Her first time in a strange house and all.
Well, what are we going to do now?
Well, first we'll drop off Kathy's teddy bear.
Then let's take Bud's wool socks up to Beaver Lake.
Good. We can stay at the lodge overnight.
And tomorrow we can drive to Grantsville with Betty's sweater.
Wonderful idea.
It's a lovely little college town. Besides, I'm looking forward to hearing Betty sing with the Glee Club.
So am I.
Have 'em. love them, and then leave them alone. Isn't that what you always say, Jim?
Well, you know something, Margaret? I guess we're both a couple of fakers.
And now, before our final surprise of the show, here's our friend Jim Anderson with some friendly advice.
There are lots of things we don't admit to ourselves, aren't there? For example, when you're not sleeping well, when you're tired, nervous, maybe you won't admit the reason. Well, it could be coffee nerves. Yes, coffee nerves from the caffeine in coffee or tea. In that case, you ought to switch to Postum. Caffeine-free Postum. I did, and I'm glad. Postum really works because there's no caffeine in Postum. Of course, many people aren't bothered by caffeine. But if you are, if caffeine causes you sleepless nights or jittery nerves, take my tip. Switch to Postum. Chances are you'll find you're sleeping better, feeling better than you have in years. Get a job
That holds a certain fascination for the male species. The feminine faction, however, is not so enraptured, especially when the aforementioned cogwheels, levers, gears, and springs are spread all over the dining room table. And that's the way it is with the Andersons as we check in on a Saturday morning at the White Frame House on Maple Street. Like this.
Jim, you have a perfectly good workbench out in the garage. Why don't you repair the clock out there?
Margaret, I'll be through here in just a minute.
You've been saying that for the last 2 hours.
But I can use your help here.
Okay.
Now, hand me those tools as I need them. Screwdriver.
Okay, here you are.
Now, pliers. Tweezers.
Forceps. Scalpel.
All right, Bud, cut it out. This is nerve-wracking work.
Oh, gosh, Dad, this whole thing sounds like an operation.
Yes, and I'm afraid the patient isn't going to make it. Jim, those old clocks require a special skill. When Mother and Dad had the clock, they always
Margaret,
took it to...
please, I've just about got it licked.
Say, Mommy. Gosh, what's all this junk on the table?
Shh, Kathy. There's a genius at work.
Now, see the spring here, Bud? All I have to do is coil it up good and tight, like this. Now, as I hold the spring with the pliers, I want you, Bud, to open the little door in back of the clock.
Okay, there you are.
That's it. Now, I gently slip the coiled spring inside, like this. Easy. Easy. No.
That's what I call making time fly.
Very funny. Now, help me pick up the parts.
Jim, Mr. Timkins, the jeweler, specializes in clocks like this. Why don't you run down
Margaret,
there
you mind? I'll fix the clock.
Yes, dear.
Dad, since you're having such a tough time with the spring, why don't you put that in first and work around it?
Well, yes, I guess I could do that. Where's the spring?
The last time I saw it, it was flying over the bookcase and heading south.
Here it is, Daddy.
Oh, bring it here, kitten. Thank you. Now, the important thing is to get the spring coiled good and tight. There we are. Now, Bud, open the back of the clock again.
Okay.
All right. Now, this is more like it. Now, I set the spring in like this. Just a little more. A little more.
Mother, guess what?
Oh! Betty, do you have to bust into the house like that?
What's wrong, Father?
Now, where did that spring go?
It set a new record, Dad. It landed on the mantel.
Oh, it was delirious. All of us girls went down to the train and met Ronnie.
Ronnie? Ronnie who?
Ronnie Kelso, the singer. He's only the rage of the whole country. Father, don't you keep up on anything?
Not the important things.
You mean the goon that croons?
Quiet, Junior. And, Mother, while we were down at the depot, Ronnie's publicity man came over and said that Ronnie wanted to invite one of us girls to have lunch with him. And because I have a bigger collection of Ronnie's records than the rest of the girls, they chose me. Isn't that dreamy?
I'd say you were very fortunate.
Am I? Father, did you hear what I said?
Yes, I heard what you said. Kathy, hand me the screwdriver.
But, Father, don't you understand? Your daughter is having lunch with the most popular singer in the country.
Am I to assume that this is the same fellow whose records you play all the time up in your room?
That's right.
I question his popularity.
Now you're taking an old fogey attitude.
What?
If you were 16 or 17, his voice would do something to you.
It has done something to me, and I don't like it.
No one in this world, but no one sings like Ronnie Kelso. There's something about him, the way he sighs when he croons.
Yeah, he sounds like a slow leak in a tire.
Mother, can't you do something about that son of yours?
Bud, that's enough.
You should hear him. He pants like a St. Bernard when he sings.
I love you.
Brother.
Oh, how awful.
You aren't kidding.
Where's that cogwheel that was here?
Here it is, Daddy.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, it's probably for me. Hello? Oh, hi, Ralph. No, I'm sorry, Ralph. I won't be able to see you this afternoon. I have a very important engagement with someone. No, it's not him. It's Ronnie Kelso. Well, it is. I'm meeting him in front of the Olympic Hotel at 1 o'clock, and he's taking me to lunch, so there. Now, Ralph, don't be like that. The only reason I was attracted to Ronnie is because he reminds me of you. The same mannerism, the same kind of personality, and you look quite a bit alike.
If I was Ralph, I'd see my lawyer.
Certainly, I remember, Ralph. We have a roller skating date for this evening. See you then. Goodbye. Mother, can I wear your pearl lapel pin?
Well...
Oh, please, Mother, I must look my best for Ronnie.
I guess so. Have you something to go with it?
Let's see. Oh, I know. I'll call Janie.
Now, don't start borrowing a lot of things.
Oh, she'll be utterly thrilled to have her bracelet meet Ronnie. Hello, Janie? Betty. I'm sorry, Janie, that the rest of you kids can't go today, but... What? Oh, yes, I know. I can't believe it myself. There I'll be eating lunch, and across the table looking at me with those soulful eyes will be Ronnie.
What a way to get indigestion.
Bud.
Oh, Janie, Mother's letting me wear her pearl lapel pin, and I was wondering if I could borrow that new bracelet of yours. Oh, thanks a lot. Ruth's letting me wear that cute blouse of hers, and Doris is letting me have her black velvet purse.
Margaret.
Yes, Jim?
Doesn't that daughter of ours wear anything that belongs to her?
Jim,
yes,
all
sure.
the girls do this.
But it sounds like she's being closed to the courtesy of the community.
Well, Agnes offered me your plaid skirt.
If she lost her friends, she'd freeze to death.
All right, Janie. And don't worry, I'll let you know about everything that goes on. Goodbye. Well, I better get upstairs and start to get ready.
Yes, you haven't got much time.
Mother?
Yes, dear?
Where are those bobby pins you bought the other day?
They're on my dresser.
Thanks.
Well, I'm glad to hear that we're contributing something to this momentous game. Now, with all the excitement having subsided, maybe I can get this clock in order. Kathy, give me that little round disc you have in your hand.
This?
Yes, give it to me.
But, Daddy...
Would you please hand it over?
Okay.
Thank you. I'm having enough trouble without you holding out parts on me. Now, let's see. It should go right here. No. Maybe it slips over this little bar. Oh. That's funny. This disc doesn't seem to fit any place.
Maybe it's because it's a wheel off my toy airplane.
Oh, no.
Daddy, I tried to tell you, but...
Jim, why don't you take the clock down to Mr. Timkins?
Mother?
Yes, Betty?
What happened to this picture of Ronnie I have hanging on my wall?
Something wrong?
It's ruined, completely ruined.
Bud, do you know anything about it?
Me? I never go into her stale room.
Kathy?
Yes, Mother?
Do you know anything about Ronnie's pictures?
Well...
Come on.
Well, Patty Davis and I were playing darts, and we needed a target.
Kathleen, you didn't.
Ronnie's turned up nose made a peachy bullseye.
Jim, I wonder what's keeping Betty.
Don't worry. She'll be home as soon as she gets fed up with lover boy Kelso. Shouldn't take long. Margaret, can I borrow your nail file?
My nail file? I think you'll find it in the... Jim, you aren't back to fooling with that clock again. I thought you gave that up hours ago.
I did. But as I was getting ready to take it down to the jeweler's, I happened to notice something. See this notch on this lever here?
Yeah.
Well, that's where the spring is supposed to be anchored, and it'll keep it from flying out.
Uh-huh.
Margaret, you seem to doubt me.
No, but I wouldn't start repairing it until I put on Bud's catcher's mask.
You're getting worse than the kids. Look, I've got the spring all coiled up, and I just set it in place like that. See there? Perfect.
Stand back, Jim.
That was merely the spring settling in place. Believe me, Margaret, I've solved it. All the parts are in order. Proud of me?
I'm proud of you, dear.
And I could never have done it without your helpful words of discouragement.
Oh, Jim, I'm not that bad. Ah, here comes our illustrious daughter now.
How did you make out, Betty?
Please, Father, it's not Betty. From now on, it's Bet.
Bet?
That's what Ronnie calls me.
Oh, so that's it.
As Ronnie said, a girl of my sophistication and cosmopolitan qualities should only be known as Bet. Betty is far too pedestrian.
How was the lunch, dear?
I wouldn't know, Mother. I couldn't eat.
Don't tell me he was that bad.
In Ronnie's presence, material things seem so unimportant.
I'd say you were slightly taken by the gentleman.
Mother, I want you and Father to be the first to know. From now on, it's Ronnie and I.
Oh, now, Betty.
I know you'll say I've gone off the deep end.
You've not only gone off the deep end, you've landed on your head.
Go ahead, Father. Make fun.
In the first place, he's too old for you.
He's not old. He's just more mature. And a little prematurely gray.
But, Betty, this is only the first time you've met him. And it was just a luncheon date.
Yes, but before the lunch was over, Ronnie was holding my hand.
I hope he let go long enough to pick up the check.
Jim, please.
And while he was holding my hand, the photographer took our picture for the whole world to see.
Probably some publicity stunt.
Publicity stunt. Father, you and your crass commercialism. That picture was taken to record the cherished moment when the paths of two lonely people entwined.
Margaret, is this our daughter?
Be patient, Jim.
Be patient, she says. That's right, Mother. Treat me. If you'd like to drop by later, I'll explain everything. Goodbye.
Betty, this silly business has gone far enough. Ralph is a bird brain, but you did make a date with him for tonight, and you're going to keep it.
I can't, Father. I mustn't.
You get on that phone and call Ralph back.
I won't.
Don't you stamp your foot at me, young lady. Now, you call Ralph right this minute.
I won't. I won't. I won't.
Oh, fine. Now, Bet, you can get a sack and help me gather up the...
After a 2-hour luncheon date with Ronnie Kelso, the popular singer, feels she has experienced the real thing. Jim feels that it's merely a question of Ronnie-itis and should disappear about 7 o'clock this evening. As for Bud and Kathy, they just stand around the kitchen and ask questions. Like this.
Mom, what's wrong with Betty?
Nothing, Bud. Nothing at all.
But there's got to be something wrong. She looks like a dying calf.
Well, if you must know, she thinks she's in love with Ronnie Kelso.
Oh, no, not that.
It's nothing but a crush.
A crush? She looks like she's been pulverized.
Never mind, Bud. Let's just drop it.
Will I go through that when I'm Betty's age, Mommy?
I imagine you will, dear.
I sure hope not.
It's not so bad.
But by the look on her face, it must be awful painful.
Someday love will come to you, Kathy, and when it does, you'll know it. It'll be the most beautiful thing that has ever happened to you. You'll meet a man whom you'll think is the most wonderful person in all the world.
I will?
Mm-hmm. And this man will have the same interests that you do, and...
You mean he'll like bullfrogs and tadpoles?
Kathy.
Yes, Mother.
I think we can postpone our little discussion until a later date. Say, about 1960?
Oh, Margaret! Look.
Jim, the clock. It's all in one piece.
Yes, it's all fixed. And
Daddy.
this time it's right. Yes, kitten?
Daddy, Mommy says that when I'm Betty's age, I might fall in love or have a crush on a fellow.
I hope not.
Jim, let's not be bitter.
Believe me, Margaret, I couldn't go through this again.
Well, it's going to happen to Kathy, so you might as well accept it.
Well, maybe when Kathy's Betty's age, there'll be a vaccine we can give her to prevent it.
Now, Jim.
Have you seen Betty recently?
I saw her just before she went up to her room.
What a sight. She walks around listlessly, mouth open, eyes drooping. She looks like the ad. Don't let this happen to you.
I just hope she comes out of it.
She'd better come out of it. If she doesn't keep that date with Ralph like she promised, there's going to be some fireworks around here.
Want me to get the hairbrush, Daddy?
I'll get it. Hello? It's for you, Bet.
Is it Ronnie, Bud?
No, it's not the tonsil. It's Janie.
I'll be down in a second.
Who was it, Bud?
Janie. She probably wants to get all the dirt on what happened at lunch today. Yak, 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 yak.
I think I'll sneak in and listen.
Kathy, you be careful.
Bud, what time is it there by the clock on the stove? I want to set this clock here.
So you finally got it fixed.
I most certainly did. And I trust that my perseverance and stick-to-itiveness will prove an object lesson to the scorners around here. What time did you say it was?
4 o'clock, straight up.
All right, I'll set it for exactly 4 o'clock. There. See there? Bud, get me the screwdriver off the dining room table.
Jim, don't you dare take that clock apart again.
But, Margaret...
I'll settle for adding on a couple of bongs every time the clock strikes.
At midnight, it'll be 14 o'clock.
Maybe I wound it a little more.
It isn't ticking, Jim.
All right, you win. I'll take it over to the jeweler's Monday on my way to work.
Daddy, guess what? Betty is going to Cincinnati.
Now, kitten, you're making that up.
No, really. I just heard her tell Janie on the phone she's going next Saturday. It's something about Ronnie.
Margaret, I detest eavesdropping, but this should be very enlightening. Very enlightening. You kids stay here. Be quiet now.
Yes. Oh, you're right, Janie. No. No, of course. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. No. No.
Very enlightening, eh, Jim?
Quiet, Margaret.
Well, you see, Janie, my plans are to...
Listen now, Margaret.
Uh-huh. Of course. Yes. Yes. No.
I wish that Janie would shut up for a minute.
No, I haven't told the folks yet. I want to break it to them gently. Father? Oh, he'll hit the ceiling and probably stay there for 3 or 4 days. Yes, it's so hard to make him understand. Of course, when you get up in years like that.
Margaret, I'm going to...
Jim, just a minute. All right, Janie, keep your fingers crossed for me. Bye.
Margaret, walk in as if nothing is wrong. Hi, Beth.
Oh, hello, Father.
What's new?
Nothing. Excuse me, I have to be getting up to my room.
What do you hear from Cincinnati?
Father, you mean you overheard my conversation?
Yes, I was up on the ceiling listening in.
Betty, what is this Cincinnati business?
Please, I have to get up to my room.
You stay right here, young lady. We're going to get this straightened out once and for all.
You won't get angry?
There'll be no guarantee.
Well, next Saturday, Ronnie's opening at the Capitol Theater in Cincinnati.
And you're planning on being there?
Yes, I thought I'd buzz back.
You'll be buzzing, young lady, but it won't be to Cincinnati.
Oh, but I must. Ronnie's counting on me. He gave me a ticket to the theater, and my presence will mean so much to his performance.
You aren't going, and that's final.
But, Father...
The discussion is over.
I'm sorry, Father, but... Well, I'm going if I have to run away to do it.
Well...
Margaret, this situation has to be met head on.
Head on? Seems like we've already had quite a collision.
Where did Betty say this Ronnie was staying?
At the Olympic Hotel. But, Jim, you wouldn't.
I wouldn't? Nobody's going to lead my daughter on like this.
But, Jim, he's a celebrity. I doubt if you could get in to see him.
I'll get in to see him. Don't worry. Where's my hat?
Over there on the table. But, Jim, please don't lose your head.
Relax, Margaret. I know what I'm doing. I'll see you in a little while.
Jim, you can't go downtown in your bedroom slippers.
Oh? Well, where are my shoes?
Under the chair there.
Yeah, I got them. I'm going to set this pipsqueak right if it's the last thing I do.
But, Jim, I don't like it when you get all steamed up like this and go off on a tangent.
Margaret, don't worry about me. I tell you, I know what I'm doing. See you later.
Oh,
Jim.
Yes?
You've got your shoes on the wrong feet.
Oh, don't tell me, Mother. He actually went down to the hotel?
Yes, he's been gone for some time now.
Oh, this is humiliating. I suppose he went down to try and break up our romance.
Yes, and the way he stormed out of here, I hope that's all he breaks up.
Well, I have no fears. Anything that Father says will have no effect on Ronnie and me. Our bond is too strong.
Betty, I only wish...
Please, Mother. Bet.
Sorry. Bet, I only wish that you would understand that... Wait a minute.
What, Mother?
Your father's coming up the walk and he has someone with him.
Oh, Mother, I'm afraid.
Stay here, Betty. It's better to face it now.
Step right in. Margaret, Bet, I'd like you to meet someone. This is Gladys Kelso.
Hi, Bet.
Gladys Kelso? You mean you're Ronnie Kelso's wife?
No, I'm afraid not.
Oh, thank goodness.
I'm his daughter.
Daughter?
That's right. He'd kill me if he knew I sneaked out of the hotel room.
But Ronnie seemed like... Is he old enough to have a daughter my age?
Is he old enough? You should see him when he gets out of bed in the morning. Oh, brother, you think women have beauty aids. He practically retreads his face.
Please, I don't want to hear any more.
Now, don't think I'm being disrespectful. Pop's really a grand guy. The only time he gets mad at me is when I make him take his vitamin pills.
All right, so he is a little older than I am.
A little?
Wait till I tell you what happened in Seattle. A bunch of teenage gals were gathered on the sidewalk, and they wouldn't go away until Dad threw down a lock of his hair. That's when he got burned up at me.
What happened, Gladys?
I threw down his whole toupee.
I'm not amused in the least.
Oh, don't take it so hard, kid. So he did hold your hand at lunch.
Well, then you heard about it?
Sis, he's held girls' hands from here to Albuquerque. It's all a part of the game. Well, what about the theater ticket? Oh, for the opening in Cincinnati? Hundreds of girls got tickets. That way we're sure of a smash opening. Remember, kid, a crooner is only as good as the squeals he gets. I'll see who it is. It's Ralph, Bet.
I don't want to see Ralph. I don't want to see anybody.
Now, just a minute. Betty, you promised Ralph you...
Hey, that Ralph looks like a real dreamboat.
Betty, come back here.
Say, I was just thinking, I'm going to be stuck in town tonight, Betty. If you don't want Ralph...
What did you say?
Why, yes, Gladys. I think Betty would be glad to introduce you to Ralph.
I'll be right out, Ralph. Just a minute. Don't go away.
Going to keep your date, Bet?
From now on, it isn't Bet. It's Betty, plain and simple.
Yes, and at times, how simple can you get?
Normalcy is set in. Betty is out on her date with Ralph, Bud is at the show, and Margaret and Jim are relaxing in the front room. The only thing to upset the calm is Kathy, who is trying to amuse herself with her toy airplane. Like this.
Daddy, watch this three-point landing.
Kathy, be careful with that airplane in here.
Oh, Jim, these are precious.
What are you looking at?
I was just thumbing through this old album. Look at these pictures, would you?
Let's see. Say they are a riot. Who's this fella here with his mouth open and his eyes drooping and an expression like a dying calf?
That's a picture of you on the day you met me.
Here she goes again. Watch her take off.
Kathy, I told you not to fly that airplane in here.
Whee! Let her go.
Kathy, that plane will crash into something as sure as... See there, it hit the clock. Kathy, if I've told you once, I've told you...
Jim, listen.
Well, what do you know? It's running.
Join us again next week when we'll be back with Father Knows Best, starring Robert Young as Jim Anderson. Until then, good night and good luck from the makers of Post 40% Bran Flakes, America's largest selling bran flakes, and Instant Postum, the drink that's entirely caffeine-free. In our cast were Ted Donaldson as Bud, Gene Vanderpyle, Rhoda Williams, Helen Strom, and Mary Lee Robb. It comes in a red, white, and blue box. What is it?
Hot Post Wheatmeal.
It has the picture of Roy Rogers on the package. What is it?
Hot Post Wheatmeal.
It's packed full of whole wheat nourishment. What is it?
Hot Post Wheatmeal.
It has a rich, delicious, nut-like flavor. What is it?
Hot Post Wheatmeal.
Cooks in just 3 minutes. Another member of the famous Post family. What is it?
Hot Post Wheatmeal.
It's the best hot cereal you ever ate.
Hot Post Wheatmeal.
Father Knows Best was transcribed in Hollywood and written by Paul West and Dick Conway. This is Bill Foreman speaking.
Tonight, play Truth or Consequences on NBC.
Our next broadcast premiered in 1935. The program struggled in the ratings until 1940 when it became a national sensation. Within 3 years, it was the top-rated program in America. Few radio shows were more beloved, and few play as well half a century later. It was the brainchild of real-life married couple Jim and Marion Jordan and was broadcast to the nation from WMAQ Chicago. The show entertained America until March of 1956 and continued on NBC's monitor until 1959. We invite you to join us at 79 Wistful Vista with Fibber McGee and Molly right here on HOJO Radio.
The Johnson Wax Program with Fibber McGee and Molly. Makers of Johnson's Wax and Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat present Fibber McGee and Molly, written by Don Quinn, with music by the King's Men and Billy Mills Orchestra. The show opens with I Struck a Match on the Moon. Well, imagine it being April the 1st. Man, it's an awful temptation for all of us to play April Fool tricks on our friends. But you know, there's one thing I just couldn't fool you about. Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat gives such honest, commendable service to so many of you women in saving you work and saving your floors from wear that it's practically foolproof. I suppose in a year's time, Glow Coat saves you as many hours of work as anything you ever used in your home. That's because Glow Coat, the modern floor polish, doesn't need any rubbing or buffing. You simply apply and let dry. And in 20 minutes, Glow Coat has protected your linoleum floors with a gleaming, long-lasting polish that is a delight to the eye. And there's no fooling about that protection either, because Glow Coat really makes your linoleum last much longer and keeps its colors fresh and bright. At the same time, it saves you work. If you're not using Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coats on your floors, try some this week. Some women are better drivers than some men, but some men don't think so, including the squire of 79 Wistful Vista. And his convictions would appear to be supported, as we find driving home from a shopping trip with Mrs. Uppington as passenger and the left rear fender missing, Molly of Fibber McGee and Molly.
Well, here we are, Abigail. Home again, safe and sound. Won't you come in and have a slug of hot tea?
No, thank you, my dear. I must run down to the beauty parlor and have my hair touched up a bit.
Oh, nonsense. I was just noticing this morning as we started out that you didn't have a gray hair in your head.
That was this morning.
Now, Abigail, you don't mean my driving made you nervous. Heavenly days, you talk just like McGee.
Oh, really?
Yes, he's absolutely forbidden me to take the car out alone unless he was with me. But I guess this will show him I can drive. It was fun, wasn't it?
Oh, delightful experience, my dear. All those people honking and staring at us. Oh, so exciting. Well, thank you for the lift, Mrs. McGee.
No, not at all, Abigail. And I was very glad to... Why, what's the matter?
Mrs. McGee, may I ask a rather personal question?
I certainly go right ahead.
How many fenders did you have in this car when we started out?
Well, 4, I think. One in each corner. Why?
Look, one seems to be missing from the left rear.
What? Well, heavenly days, I've been robbed. Oh, dear.
I imagine that happened when we scraped against that truck at 14th and Oak, don't you?
Yes, and I'll have the law on him. That's what I'll do, such carelessness.
Oh, but Mrs. McGee, the truck was parked. The driver wasn't even in it.
Why, that makes it worse, Abigail, leaving the scene of an accident. Oh, my goodness, what will McGee say? Now he never will let me drive again.
Indeed, he knows.
Oh, I'll have to tell him, Abigail. I never keep anything from him. We never have any secrets from each other.
Really? How horrible.
Oh, dear, why did this have to happen to me? And I did so want to show him I could really drive.
It would seem that his opinion of women drivers was about to hit a new low, my dear. But after all...
Oh, there, girls. Lovely day, isn't it? Been doing your Easter shop? Well, I see you lost a fender.
Yes, and Mrs. Uppington says I shouldn't tell McGee about it.
Well, why should you? It's none of his business.
Exactly what I was saying. As women, we owe it to the women drivers of America, so hush this up.
Well, I don't know now. It seems kind of deceitful of me.
Well, it's just a temporary measure, Mrs. McGee, that's all.
What do you mean by that? The fender's gone, isn't it?
Certainly, but look, you stick the car in the garage quickly. I'll run down to the dealer's. We'll have another fender on there before you can say, oh, my goodness, here he comes.
Now, why should she say that, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Because he is. Hurry up, Mrs. McGee. Get in the car and get it in the garage.
Oh, but don't you think I
hurry,
really
my
should...
dear. Hurry, Throckmorton. You run up the street and see if you can delay Mr. McGee a few minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a little dog and his name was Moke. He didn't have a cent, but he never was broke.
Oh, there, McGee. How's everything with you? Nice day, isn't it? Yes, it certainly is for this time of the year.
Yes, it's nice.
As though we ought to have a lot of nice weather from now on.
Yes,
don't you
I think we ought to.
Except for a little rainy spell now and then, but that's...
Hey, what are you jabbering about, Gildersleeve? Skipping along the street, jabbering about the spring weather? Hey, didn't I see Uppy and Molly out in front of our house?
Who?
Mrs. Uppington and Molly.
Who?
Molly. That's my wife, remember? She lives with me. Next door to you. She's that nice-looking woman.
Oh, for goodness sakes, I know. Yes, you did see her. She and Mrs. Uppington have been shopping. She was, putting the car away. Yes. There they are.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Molly. Hi, Uppy.
Hello, dear.
Have a nice time downtown?
Oh, yes, it was a very pleasant day, Miss McGee, thank you.
All except for one thing, dearie. I had a little
that's a nice-looking necktie you have on there, McGee.
Hey, what's the matter with you two? You're as jumpy as a couple of tiddlywinks. Hey, Molly, give me the keys to the car, will you?
The keys?
To the car?
Yeah, he wants the keys to the car, I guess.
Boy, you kids sure catch on quick.
Say, you're not leaving, are you, McGee?
Yeah, I got to take the car down and get it greased.
I wouldn't do that, McGee. My goodness, the car hasn't cooled off yet.
Well, so what?
Oh, one can't put cold grease on a hot car, Miss McGee. Oh, it would melt and run right off, wouldn't it, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Not only that, but some mechanic is liable to burn his hand on the exhaust pipe and sue you for plenty, McGee. $10,000,
Oh, $20,000.
Oh, dear.
And what if they won the suit and you couldn't pay the damages, huh? You'd go to prison.
Oh.
Think of it, McGee. Spending the rest of your life in Alcatraz.
Oh.
Never again to see the green grass and hear the birds singing.
Oh, sure.
Pining away for a little gaiety and laughter while your hair turned white and your face...
And it's all my fault. Oh, McGee, can you ever forgive me?
Oh, take it easy. Take it easy. Don't get a lump in your throat, sugar. I ain't going to jail. There ain't any hurry about getting the car greased if it makes that much difference.
Well, I have a little business downtown, and I'll take care of that little matter for you, Mrs. McGee. Don't worry.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Hey, what little matter? I'll do it, Molly. You don't have to bother Gildy with it.
No. No bother at all, McGee. She wants me to, well... It's a secret, chum. And are you going to be surprised? Well, come on, Abigail. So long, folks.
So long.
Bye. Gee, dearie, I think I better tell you what this is all about. You see what happened.
Oh, please, Molly, don't tell me. I want to be surprised.
But I really should tell you, McGee. I wanted to all along, but Mr. Gildersleeve and Mrs. Uppington...
And they were right. Shucks, a surprise is a surprise.
But, McGee...
I won't listen. I'll change the subject.
All right, but please remember I did my best to tell you.
Okay, now let's go in and get a bite to eat. What have we got in the icebox?
Well, I think there's a little cold roast fender.
Huh?
I mean, cold roast beef. What am I thinking about?
Yeah.
And some chicken left over from Sunday. Comfortable in that chair, dearie?
Huh? Oh, yeah, sure. Shucks, I always sit in this chair. You know that.
Let me get your slippers for you.
Oh, no, thanks. I'm okay. I'm just... Hey, what are you doing?
I'm filling your pipe for you, darling.
Okay, but the tobacco don't go through the stem. It goes in the bowl part.
Aren't I the clumsy one, though? There you are, McGee. And here's a match.
Boy, am I getting the service. If I didn't know better, I'd say you had something on your conscience.
Now, look, McGee, about the car.
Oh, say, I forgot to tell you. Guess who I seen downtown yesterday?
Who?
Remember old Dangle Punkley that we used to go to school with?
Not Dangle Punkley.
Yeah, he was forward on the basketball team, remember?
Yeah, he was pretty forward on sleigh rides, too. What's he doing now?
I don't know. He gave me his business card, and I... Uh-oh. I left it in the glove compartment of the car. I'll run right out.
No, please, McGee, don't do that.
Huh? Why not? Just take me a minute.
No, I don't want you running around like that. You're a busy man, and you need your rest. You can show me the card some other time.
That's okay. I'm going out to the garage anyway.
What for?
Well, that right front tire's carrying too much air. I kicked it this morning and almost busted my toe.
Did you have your bedroom slippers on?
Yeah, I guess I did at that. Well, I better check up anyway. I'll only be gone a minute.
No, McGee, please. Don't go out and leave me here in this house all alone.
What you mean, leave you alone? You're here alone half the time.
Hey, what are you... Hello there, folks. Hey, Fibber, come on out to the garage with me for a minute, will you?
Sure, I'll be glad to.
Now, wait a minute, boys. Wait a minute, please. Now, what do you want to go out to the garage for?
Oh, I want to show Fibber how Johnson's car new will make his car look like new again with only...
Heavenly days. He knows all about car new. We use it all the time. Sit down and tell me all about Johnson's wax for floors and furniture.
Hey, what is this? You've been hearing about Johnson's wax for floors and furniture for 6 years, the 15th of this month, Molly.
I know it, and I never get tired. Mr. Wilcox tells about it so interestingly.
Gee, do you think so, Molly? Honest?
Oh, I certainly do. Sit down, Mr. Wilcox.
All right.
That's it. Now tell us all about how Johnson's wax seals the pores of wood surfaces against dust and dirt and dampness, and how it makes housework so much easier and saves so much time.
Oh, but Molly, you know...
Quiet, McGee. Can't you see I'm just fascinated by Mr. Wilcox's story?
You mean about...
I mean about how Johnson's wax is used by discriminating housewives all over the world, Mr. Wilcox, because it beautifies and protects so many nice things.
Well, that's the story, all right.
Oh, tell me some more. Go on.
Now, wait a minute. Don't lead him on, Molly. You know very well if you give him an inch, he'll grab the whole tape measure.
Oh. So you're not interested in Johnson's wax?
I am so.
Well, you don't act like it.
Huh?
I've got a good notion to report you to the company.
Now, there. You see, McGee?
Now, drat it, I didn't say anything just because...
Never mind. You've made it pretty clear how you feel about it.
Sure you did.
Well, thank you for listening, Molly. Goodbye.
Now, McGee, aren't you ashamed?
Oh, gee, I'm kind of confused. All I done was, you've heard all that stuff before, and you know it. How you can sit there with a look of breathless excitement while that big smoothie goes through that rubber stamp routine gets me. You're just putting on an act for some reason.
So now I'm not sincere, huh?
Look, Mrs. Guffey, I didn't say you wasn't sincere. All I said was that...
Oh, come in. Come in.
Oh, hi, Boomer.
Hello, Mr. Boomer.
Good day, my dear. Good day to you, Lumpy Dumpy and Grumpy.
I see you got your arm in a sling, Boomer. How'd you fracture the flipper? Waving goodbye to Warden Laws?
Not at all. It was just the result of a childish prank. I tried to hook a ride on an armored bank truck, and a guard brushed me off with a bag of nickels.
Well, now that's too bad, Mr. Boomer. Did it hurt much?
Have you ever had your biceps trampled by 1,000 buffaloes?
Kind of cramped your poker playing style, didn't it, Boomer? I hear you got caught last night with 2 aces up your plaster cast.
That's an outrageous falsehood. It wasn't last night, it was Sunday night.
What are you doing for the arm, Mr. Boomer?
I'm suing the bank that owned the car, that carried the guard, that threw the nickels, that broke my hold, my arm, and a dozen eggs I was taking to a sick actor who hadn't had an audience in 3 years.
Well, I don't like to be unsympathetic, Boomer, but now that we've all had a good cry about your limping lunch hook, maybe you'll explain just why you dropped in here.
Oh, yes. Glad you mentioned it, Del Star. Just wanted to serve a couple of subpoenas on you.
Subpoenas? What for?
I want you to serve as a character witness in a case that's coming up against me. Seems the district attorney claims they found my fingerprints on a safe after a jewel robbery.
Oh.
Nonsense, of course. Had my gloves on all the time.
Well, give us the papers, Boomer, and shove off.
I can't reach them with a wounded wing, Limberlip. Would you mind going through my pockets for me? You'll find them there someplace.
Why, certainly. Look in his pockets, dearie.
Okay, now let me see. Subpoena. Where'd you put them subpoenas?
I'm here a moment ago.
Here's something. Is this it?
Oh, that's a postcard from Sheila the shoplifter.
Yeah, she says she's been specializing in stockings and handkerchiefs this last week.
Oh.
Had the flu, and the doctor doesn't want her to lift anything heavy.
Here's a small bottle of perfumed hair oil.
Oh, that's for my nephew, Guernsey Boomer. Mm-hmm. The only way I can get some sense into his head.
Say, what's this? This heavy leather thing.
Hey, that's a blackjack.
It certainly is. I ordered some chewing gum by mail, and a careless shipping clerk sent me that instead. Put the blackjack back, Jack.
Okay, and here's a bottle of traveler's checks, or here's a book of traveler's checks made out to a guy named Sweeney.
You're thinking of Uncle Dennis, McGee.
Sweeney?
Who is Sweeney?
I couldn't say. I only met the chap for a minute in the subway.
Well, that's all there is in your pockets, Boomer. And I didn't see any legal papers.
Well, imagine that. No subpoenas. Ah, well, come to think of it, you'd be very bad character witnesses for me anyway.
Why?
You know my character. Well, good day, my dear, and to you a pleasant April, fool.
The King's Men sing Abdul a Bulbul Amir.
The sons of the prophets are hardy and bold and quite unaccustomed to fear. But of all the most reckless of life or of limb was Abdullah Bulbul Amir. When they wanted a man to encourage the van or bring up the troops from the rear, or storm a dugout, they would straightway send out for Abdullah Bulbul Amir. There's heroes of plenty and well known to fame in the ranks that are led by the Tsar. But the bravest, most fearless of name or of fame was Ivan Kovitsky Skibar. He could imitate Irving, play lotto or pool, and play on the Spanish guitar. In fact, quite the cream of the Muscovite team was Ivan Kovitsky Skibar. One morning this Russian, he shouldered his gun, put on a belligerent sneer. Then going to town, he just happened to run into Abdul Bulbul Amir.
Young man,
said Abdul,
is your license so dull that you're anxious to end it right here? Oh, infidel, no, you have caught on the toe
of Abdullah Bulbul Amir. Said Ivan, my friend, your remarks in the end will only prove futile, I fear. For I mean to imply that you're going to die, Mr. Abdullah Bulbul Amir. They fought all that night by the moon's yellow light. The babble was heard from afar. Great multitudes came, so great was the fame of Abdul and Ivan Skibar. And here in a tomb by the Danube so clear, beneath the light of the bright star, there lies the brave Abdullah Bulbul Amir at rest beside Ivan Skibar. Somewhere you may bet they are still fighting yet, Abdul and Ivan Skibar.
McGee, there's something I've just got to say.
Okay, tell me when I come back.
Where are you going?
Out to the garage. I left my magazine out there that I was reading.
No.
What's the matter?
I brought it in. It's upstairs in our room.
Oh, thanks.
And I want to compliment you on your improved taste in literature, too.
Huh?
I'm glad you've given up those trashy magazines. And I think it's splendid that a prominent citizen like you should take so much interest in law enforcement.
Law enforcement?
Yes. You'll find your police gazette up on our dresser.
Much obliged. I'll run right up and get it.
Oh, dear, I wish I knew how to break the news to him about that senator. He's so...
Where's McGee?
He's upstairs, Mr. Gildersleeve. Why?
Now, look, you keep McGee out of the garage for a while. I'm going out and put this new fender on for you. You see? Here it is.
Here he comes.
Here I go.
Hey, Molly, did I hear you talking to somebody down here? I thought I heard the horses.
Well, maybe the house is haunted.
Yeah, could be. Ever since Uncle Dennis moved in on us, you can even smell spirits around here. Come in.
Hi, Mr. McGee.
Oh, hi, sis. Well, what you staring at me for?
I guess my papa was wrong, I guess. He said you didn't stand up straight.
Oh, he did he? Well, you can go right home and tell your old man to go plumb.
McGee.
Huh?
That's all right, Miss McGee. Mama tells Papa that, too, every morning.
She does?
Sure she does, I betcha. She hands him his hat and kisses him goodbye and says, all right, now you can go plumb.
Oh, hold it, sis. Then what does your father do?
He goes to somebody's house and plums.
Oh, he's a plumber.
I know it.
Oh, I see. For a minute there, you had me going, sis. I should have known you were too well bred to do...
Too well what?
Bred.
I'm hungry.
Well, anyway, Anyway, sis, you can run along home and tell your father that I do stand up straight.
All righty.
I don't know what gave him that idea that I didn't in the first place.
I do, I betcha.
Huh? What made him think I didn't stand up straight?
Well, he said he saw you on the street this morning, and did you look stupid?
Why, that little freshie. I'll teach her a thing or three.
Oh, what are you going to do?
I'm going to call up her old man. That's what I'm going to do. Give me that phone. Hello, operator. Give me the residence of... Oh, is that you, Mert? How's every little thing, Mert? Is, eh? What's that, Mert? The stork came to your house this morning.
The stork? Oh, how wonderful. Boy or girl, dearie?
They don't know, but they got it tied up, and if it lays an egg, it's a girl. What's that, Mert? Gee, I don't know either. I forgot now. Okay, Mert. Hey, who was I calling anyway?
Oh,
what was I calling?
It doesn't matter anyway. You were just going to...
Hey, what's that?
What's what?
That noise. Sounds like it's out in the garage. You hear anything?
Wait a minute. No, I don't hear a thing.
Must be my blood pressure. You sure you don't hear it? Huh?
No, just the wind.
That's the bumpiest wind I ever heard. Maybe it's somebody out in Gildersleeve's garage. Listen.
Oh, goody, he must have it fixed.
Who's got what fixed?
Whoever was making that noise.
I thought you said it was the wind. I think I better go out in the garage and investigate. It might be somebody that might...
Come in.
Oh, there, folks. I just thought I'd stop in and
That rat at Gildersleeve, quit tracking that muck all over our floor.
Muck?
Look at you. Why, you're a mess.
Now, McGee, what if Mr. Gildersleeve is a little smudgy? Maybe he's been working on something.
That's a very shrewd guess, Mrs. McGee. But I'm all finished now.
Oh, that's fine, Mr. Gildersleeve.
So, that was you making all that racket out there, was it? What's the matter? You too cheap to hire a mechanic?
McGee, now that's no way to talk. Here's poor Mr. Gildersleeve, all tired and dirty.
Dirty? I'll say he's dirty. He's crusty. Looks like he found a grease pit with a diving board on it.
Is that so? Now you look here, you little nincompoop.
Nincompoop.
Pip, pop, poof.
Sound like a bunch of firecrackers.
Well, Dad rat at Gildersleeve's got no business coming in here and getting our house all dirty. If he wants to work on his car, let him. Oh, hey, that reminds me, Molly.
Uh-oh.
You drove our car downtown today, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
I forgot to ask you, wasn't it kind of embarrassing without that left rear fender?
Oh, my goodness, he knows about it.
McGee, how did you find out about that fender?
What do you mean, how did I find out? I was the first one to know.
You were?
Yeah, I tore it off last night backing out of the garage.
Oh, heavens.
Hey, leave me alone, McGee! I didn't do anything.
I'll kill you!
Fibber and Molly will be back in just a moment. Well, we've been talking about spring these last few weeks, but it's really here now, and time to freshen up that kitchen of yours. You know, it's a lot more fun working around a cheerful kitchen than one that's a little drab and dull. And it's wonderful how much cheer and new life you can add with new curtains, fresh oilcloth, and gay-colored enamels, without spending much money either. Of course, the quickest, most inexpensive way to make a big difference is to treat your linoleum floors to a bright, sparkling Glow Coat polish. Glow Coat brings out the colors of the linoleum, keeps them as bright and fresh as new. It protects the linoleum surface against wear, makes it last much longer. And it does all this with practically no work because Glow Coat is self-polishing, needs no rubbing or buffing. Now, if you're still scrubbing linoleum floors or using less satisfactory polishes, may I suggest that just once you try Johnson's self-polishing Glow Coat.
So you thought all the time that you'd knocked that fender off, did you, Molly?
I sure did. And I'm still ashamed of myself for trying to deceive you about it, Judy.
Oh, forget it. I don't tell you everything, too, either. For instance, I never did tell you about...
About what?
Never mind. Now we're even. Good night.
Good night, all.
This is Harlow Wilcox, speaking for the makers of Johnson's Wax and Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat, inviting you to be with us again next Tuesday night. Good night.
Look, George, here come the Browns again in that shabby-looking car of theirs. Wouldn't you think they'd be ashamed to ride around in it?
Isn't it funny how some people can be so neat about their own clothes and yet let their cars get so dingy looking? I guess it's just because they don't know how easy it is to wax polish their car with Johnson's Car-New. Car-New, you know, cleans and wax polishes in one operation, in less than half the time it used to take, and it costs very little. Why not wax polish your car with Johnson's Car-New, spelled C-A-R-N-U. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
You're listening to HOJO Radio. More classic old-time radio coming your way next.
The Johnson Wax program with Fibber McGee and Molly. The makers of Johnson's Wax and Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat present Fibber McGee and Molly, written by Don Quinn with music by the King's Men and Billy Mills Orchestra. The show opens with It's High Time. Let me ask you ladies a very personal question. Along about this time of year, do you begin to get those spring house cleaning blues?
Not I, Mr. Wilcox. Several years ago, you sold me on the idea of keeping house with Johnson's Wax. And spring housekeeping just doesn't get me down anymore.
Well, that's great. Do you mind telling everybody what you mean by keeping house with Johnson's Wax?
Not at all. It's really very simple. You'd be surprised how many things I wax in my home. My floors, of course, and my furniture, too. But that's not all. I wax my windowsills, Venetian blinds, pantry shelves, radiator covers, my baby's high chair, even his kitty car, and my woodwork and enameled refrigerator, picture frames, luggage, shoes.
And that's what you mean by keeping house with Johnson's Wax?
Yes. The wax protects all these things against wear and dirt. It makes my entire home more beautiful. And cleaning, both the regular kind and the big spring cleaning job, is so much easier. Thanks to you, Mr. Wilcox.
No, thanks to genuine Johnson's Wax, if you don't mind. Sold by dealers everywhere, the world round. Besides a chump of himself, there are many things a man can make around the house. One of them is a telescope. And wouldn't you just know that's what the master of 79 Wistful Vista would be working on as we meet Fibber McGee and Molly.
Hot dog, this thing is coming along swell, Molly.
That's nice.
Going to have it finished almost any time now.
That's fine.
Going to be a beauty, too.
Of course it is.
Going to be the best in town.
Oh, good.
You want to use it sometimes?
Well, I don't know, dearie. What is it?
What is it? Why, Molly, you mean to sit there with your lap full of bungalow apron and tell me you don't know what I'm making?
Well, I just didn't want to be nosy, McGee. But it's very pretty, whatever it is.
Well, it's a telescope.
A telescope? Well, now that's very interesting, but if you think I'm going to drag that big thing to the races this summer, or to football games, or the opera...
It ain't to carry. It's for me to use in my astronomy.
In your what?
Astronomy. If you'd take more interest in what your husband does, you'd know what I've been doing all these weeks.
Well, now, whatever you've been doing, you've been simply ruining your eyes.
Huh?
Every morning lately, you've been coming down to breakfast with your eyes all red and watery. Tomorrow, I'm going to take you downtown to see a good optimist.
I don't want to go to an optimist. My eyes are all right. Besides, I've just been working hard.
You've been what?
I've been working hard.
Well, while you're having your eyes looked at, I'll go get my ears examined.
Huh?
I could have sworn you said you'd been working hard.
That's right, I have been. Every night. Except last night. I sat up most of the night last night and read last night.
Well, now, what'd you do that for, foolish?
I had to. I had a book that I couldn't lay down once I'd started.
Was it that good?
It was terrible. But I was eating taffy at the time and got stuck with it.
Well, now, I don't care. Your eyes need attention, and tomorrow morning we're going downtown and have you examined for glasses. I've been trying to get you to go for 6 months.
Well, I'm finishing this telescope tonight, and from then on, I won't have to strain my eyes. Boy, it's going to be swell to have a nice big new telescope. Here I've been spending hours out there in that backyard every night watching the sky through them old opera glasses.
What are you expecting, Santa Claus?
Don't be ridiculous, Mrs. McGee. I've been checking a certain section of the consternation, and I think, mind you, that I may have discovered a...
Discovered a what?
Well, never mind. I want to do a little blah, 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 blah. I want to do a little more checking up before I make any announcements. The guy said when he stuck his hand in the alphabet soup, I'm groping for words. I wonder who that is.
Maybe it's Venus to complain about peeping Toms. Come in.
Hello, Cupid. Hello, Fisher.
Hi, Nick.
I hope I'm not buttling in where angels are afraid to tread, but I wanted to tell Mrs. McGee what is happening about the chocolate Easter's rabbit she's ordering from my candy kitchen.
Oh, is it ready, Mr. DePopulis?
Frankly, Cupid, yes and no.
Huh?
Yes, it is done, and no, it's no good.
What's the matter with it, Nicholas?
Well, I will try to explain the situation, Puss, in a nutmeat. In the first place, which is my candy kitchen at 14th and Oak Street, I'm getting an order for a big chocolate rabbit.
Uh-huh.
So, in order to fill the order, I am getting a big, real, alive rabbit to serve me as a middle while I muddled it. You grab me?
Oh, you mean you got a real live rabbit to work from as a model, huh?
Prismatic. But if you think those bunnies is sitting still while I'm making a picture of him in hot chocolate, you have another guess coming, and I'll bet I know what it is, and you're right. No, he wouldn't.
Well, now, that's too bad, Mr. DePopulis, but don't let it get you down. I can do without a chocolate rabbit this year, I guess.
Oh, sure.
Cupid, never let somebody say that Nicholas DePopulis is letting you down, easy. Because when you order a chocolate rabbit from me, you're getting a chocolate rabbit, even if it looks like a reindeer, and it certainly does. And I'm only charging 40 cents for it. Here, see?
Why, that don't look like a reindeer, Nick. That looks like a water buffalo.
In that case, it'll cost 50 cents. I'm charging more for water buffaloes than I do for reindeer, particularly when they're supposed to be rabbits.
All right, Mr. DePopulis, here's your 50 cents.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cupid. And I hope I will be seeing you both before long. Although if I don't, I guess there won't be any bones broken unless it's my ankle from kicking myself for ever taking an order for a chocolate rabbit.
How nice of you to drop in, Mrs. Uppington. Could I run you up a cup of tea?
No, thank you, my dear. I just wish to come over and ask you. Well, my goodness, Mr. McGee, what is that?
Huh? This? Oh, this is a new telescope I'm making, Uppy. I took up astronomy, and I didn't want to get caught with my planets down. Don't you get it? I says I didn't want to get
Ain't
caught.
funny, McGee.
Well, astronomy is a serious business.
Oh, I'm sure it must be. Oh, but tell me now, Mr. McGee, what are you going to wear in the Easter parade Sunday?
Well, now, I haven't quite decided, Abigail. I'm not even sure I'll be in it. For years now, I've been trying to get McGee to get a top hat and a cutaway coat and really dress up on Easter, but...
Why, I used to do that, Molly. Don't you remember? Don't you remember how we used to walk down Adams Street in Peoria on Easter Sunday? Me with my spits and cutaway, and you and your...
Oh, you mean spats and cutaway, Mr. McGee.
I mean spits. I always took the dog along. But don't you remember, Molly, I always...
Oh, yes, I remember, dearie. I remember.
Okay.
Now, suppose you go back to your sky prying and let Abigail and I talk.
Oh, but she wants to see my telescope. Don't you, Uppy?
Personally, I couldn't be induced to use a telescope. I can think of nothing more utterly boring.
Why, certainly. Why should we squint through that thing and crack our makeup?
Okay, girls, okay, but what if you could use this telescope to look into Mrs. Uppington's window right now and see all her new Easter things laying around the room?
What was that here? Let me take you
I do. Now, please, now,
Now,
push.
Abigail, I asked first.
But just the same, I'm your guest. Now, please, Mr. McGee. Oh, my, what am I doing? Why, I'm Mrs. Uppington. Well, I've never been so insulted in all my life.
Oh, well, I was just kidding. Just can't you take a joke, Uppy?
Not as well as Mrs. McGee.
Meaning what, Abigail?
I was just thinking what a joke you took on your wedding day. Goodbye.
Oh, so I'm a joke, am I?
Yes, but stop me if I've heard you. Now, look, dearie, let's give up this astronomy business for tonight. Your eyes look awfully tired, and I still think you ought to go see a good optimist.
My eyes are all right, and I can prove it.
How?
Well, I ain't sure, but I'll bet I can. Now, let me see. I think if this front lens was closer to the center of the refraction...
I don't know why you always have to take up hobbies that don't pay off, McGee. Can't you get interested in something with a profit?
What you mean, profit? The astronomy business is looking up every day.
That was hardly worth the effort, I'd say.
Well, now, let's see. If I raise the front end of the telescope about 45 degrees, it ought to...
Hi, folks. What are you doing?
Hello, Mr. Wilcox.
I'm building a telescope, Howell.
Yes. He's decided to change his career. He's given up wool gathering in favor of stargazing.
Okay. You're right. If you like, I'll show you. Hey, give me a hand, Wilcox. Help me lift this thing over to the window.
Okay, pal.
Take it easy now, there.
Open the window, Molly, will you?
Which way do you want to point it, Professor?
Which way would any astronomer point a telescope? Up. You Omaha flag. There we are. She's all set. Now, take a look through it, Harlow, and tell me what you see.
Oh, okay. Oh, boy. What a sight.
Oh, really? What do you see, Mr. Wilcox?
The Big Dipper.
How can you see the Big Dipper when you're looking straight south?
This is the Big Dipper hanging in Mrs. Gildersleeve's kitchen. And there's Mrs. Gildersleeve.
Oh, really? What's she doing?
Let me see. She's putting some Johnson self-polishing glow coat on her kitchen linoleum. Oh. She's got a big smile on her face, too.
Oh.
Now she's pouring out a few drops of glow coat on the floor. Oh. Now she's spreading it around.
Oh, and to think I built a big new telescope today. It's like asking Fritz Chrysler to fiddle for a barn dance.
Hey, take a look, Molly. Doesn't that linoleum look gorgeous now?
Let me see. Oh, beautiful. But where did Mrs. Gildersleeve go?
Oh, she probably went in the other room to rest or read a magazine. Oh, you see. Now, look. Glow coat dries to a grand glossy polish in 20 minutes or less, you know, without any rubbing or buffing. Well, much obliged for the use of the telescope, Everett.
Oh, that's okay, Wilcox. Anytime you want to point it toward Racine, Wisconsin, to see how your orders are coming in, let me know. Nothing like making science useful.
Say, you've given me a wonderful idea, Mr. Wilcox. I can certainly keep an eye on the neighborhood now.
You're never going to do no such a thing. This telescope ain't made for social snooping. It's made to look for new stars.
Well, in that case, I'll give the sponsor a telescope for Christmas. It'll come in handy when your option is up. So long, kids.
You're going to be embarrassed. Our sponsor has a telescope.
Oh, yes.
What do you mean by that, anyway?
Well, I could never guess, I hope. Now, come on, dearie. Leave that thing alone. I'm worried about you straining your eyes.
Ah, forget my eyes.
I can't. They're so beautiful.
Which one? And quit kidding me. Don't you realize that astronomy is a serious business? Don't you realize... I wonder if the astronomers at Harvard have all this trouble. Come in.
Hi, mister.
Oh, hello. I can't spare any time to talk to you now. I'm busy.
Doing what?
I'm studying astronomy.
What's astronomy?
It's the study of the stars, sis. Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Venus, Betelgeuse, Sirius.
Is it?
Is it what?
Serious.
Sirius, sis, is the name of a star.
Oh, I don't like the serious stars, I bet you. I like the funny ones like Bob Hope and...
I'm talking about heavenly bodies, sis. Like the Neptune and Mars and Jupiter. And Ursus Major, Ursus Minor, Orion, and the Milky Way.
Hmm?
The Milky Way.
I'm hungry.
You're always hungry. Dad Rabbit, don't they feed you at home?
No.
What? They don't?
No.
Oh.
They just give me the food and I have to feed myself.
Oh. Well, that's tough.
I know it.
Yeah.
Hey, what's that thing for, Mr. McGee?
What? You sure dry your eyes quick. That's my telescope. Want to take a look through that telescope?
Sure.
Here. Well, wait till I point it at the moon for you. There. Now look through this little aperture here. See?
Oh.
Huh?
Gee, isn't it wonderful, mister?
Yeah, you see the man in the moon?
Is it really a man who is it, mister?
Why, of course it is. Ah, look at her, Molly. I've opened up a whole new world for the little tyke.
I'll bet you there ain't really a man up there, I bet you.
What you mean, sis?
Well, it has always been my understanding that the man on the moon was an optical illusion, wherein the geographic conformations on the lunar surface gave a more or less graphic impression of a human physiognomy. I tell you, mister, if that man on the moon more likely makes you any happier, you have my blessing. So long, Galileo.
The King's Men sing The Reluctant Dragon from the Walt Disney picture of the same name.
One fine day while on my way to Ipswich by the sea, I met a rather charming chap who asked me in to tea. It seems he was a dragon, you know the kind with wings, teeth and tails and claws and scales and all those dragon-like details. I admit I jumped a bit when he began to sing. I'm the reluctant dragon, what ho, quite so, the very reluctant dragon. Oh, Betty, Betty, don't you know, they call me the timid dragon. What rot, I'm not, I just won't fight, I'd rather play, I know I shan't get hurt that way. Here we go gathering nuts in May, I'm so reluctant, oh, so reluctant. After we had sipped our tea, a thought popped in my head, a dragon here? By Jove, that's queer. He really should be dead. I say, look here, I said. Aren't you a bit extinct? He looked at me and gave a cry and wiped a teardrop from his eye. Heaved his bosom with a sigh. Then he coyly winked. I'm the reluctant dragon who wants me. Carefree. I'm the reluctant dragon, reluctant since 1911 BC. Could be, they call me the timid dragon. What rot, what a lot of rot. I'm not, what a lot of rot. When others fight, I run away. I guess that I was born that way. I'm to be queen of the May today. I'm the reluctant dragon. I'm awful reluctant dragon. Don't step on my tail. They call me the timid dragon.
What rot? I'm not. I just won't bite.
I wanna play.
I know I shan't.
Get hurt that way. Here we go gathering nuts in May, nuts in May, nuts in May. I'm so reluctant. Yup, 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 yup.
Boy, is this telescope fun. You want to take another look, Molly?
No, thanks, McGee. And you better quit for the night, too. Remember how bad your eyes are getting. A good night's sleep will do you good.
I ain't going to go to bed till I check on a certain part of the sky.
Look, dearie, that certain part of the sky has been there for several million years. It can wait another 12 hours.
Not for me, it can't. I think I'm on the verge of discovering...
Discovering what? Don't be so mysterious.
I'm not being mysterious. I'm just being cautious. Us scientists has got to be careful what we tell the public. Yeah, they're inclined to be a trifle Gulliver.
No, you mean gullible.
Huh?
Gull is in bird and bull is in... McGee, what are you doing?
Just trying to adjust this telescope.
Come in.
Oh, there, folks. Lovely evening, isn't it?
Hi, Gildy.
Yes, it is a nice night, Mr. Gildersleeve. And your kitchen floor looks simply lovely with that fresh application of Johnson's Glow Coat.
Yes, my wife thinks there's absolutely nothing like Glow. How did you know she just Glow-coated the floor?
You can't keep a secret from science, my good man.
What are you talking about? What has science got to do with it?
Well, McGee's studying astronomy, Mr. Gildersleeve. And the telescope just happened to be pointed at your kitchen window, and...
It just happened to be pointed, did it?
Yeah.
No, look here, McGee. You prying little window peeper. If I ever hear of you peeking into my house again with that silly spyglass, I'll...
Hey, them rings around Saturn sure are pretty tonight.
Are you listening to me, McGee?
Hey, Molly, hand me a pencil and paper, will you? I got to make some notations.
All right, dearie.
McGee, I'm talking to you.
I know it, and I wish you'd shut up. The trouble with you, Gildersleeve, is that you're here today and here tomorrow. Now, keep quiet. I got work to do. Now, let me see. If Venus comes within 26 million miles of the Earth...
What's the matter, Mr. Gildersleeve? What are you fidgeting about?
Well, Gee, I wish I could look through that face. Hey, hi, McGee, please. Just one little peek.
No, not now, son. But if you behave yourself, I'll let you look at Halley's Comet next time it comes past.
Gee, thanks, little pal.
When does Halley's Comet come by again, McGee?
1986.
Well, I guess I better sit down, then. This will be quite... What? 1986? No, look here, McGee.
Hot dog, there it is.
What?
Halley's Comet?
No, McGee's Comet. I just discovered a comet myself.
Oh, you had me startled there for a minute.
Yeah, me too. How many comets do you discover per evening, McGee? How much are they a dozen?
Okay, laugh if you wanna. But I tell you, I discovered a new comet. I thought so weeks ago, and that's why I built this brand new big telescope.
Well, what makes you think it's a new one, McGee?
Because it ain't listed on any of the sky charts. That's why. Oh, boy. McGee's Comet. This will make me notorious all over the world.
By George, he really believes.
I believe so.
Why, you poor deluded little squirt.
Huh?
You don't know any more about astronomy than astronomy knows about you. And you could hide that under an eyelash with its feet sticking out.
Go ahead, laugh all you like. I know what I'm doing. Hey, Molly, take a look through here. Now, don't jar the telescope. What do you see?
Heavenly days, this is a powerful telescope.
Ah, you betcha.
Oh, I see an angel.
What?
Oh, no, it's a moth.
Don't you see that little star way down low on the horizon?
The one with the tail on it?
That's it. That's a comet. And I discovered it. That's McGee's Comet.
McGee's Comet. Is that so?
Yes, that's so. Here, Gildersleeve, if you're so skeptical, take a look. There.
But, by George, it is a comet.
Why, sure it's a comet, you big dodo. And it ain't mentioned in any of the books either. It's a new one.
My goodness, Mr. Gildersleeve, do you really think he did?
Mrs. McGee, I think he's done it.
You bet.
Think of it. My little buddy discovering a new comet. I'm going to telephone the newspaper. Give me the phone, McGee. Give me the Bristol Vista Gazette, please. Hello? Gazette? Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve speaking. I have great news for you. We've discovered a new comet in the eastern sky. Under the friendly supervision of his lifelong friend and associate, Mr. Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve. Yes, I think you have my picture in the file down there. Yes, a new comet was accidentally discovered tonight by a local man. Mr. Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve may be quoted as saying...
Give me that telephone.
No, you don't. Give it to me. Hello, editor. I'm Fibber McGee, 79 Wistful Vista, and I'm the guy that discovered that comet.
Oh, wait a minute.
Sir. At exactly 11:53. Extra, get your papers here. New comet found. Read all about McGee's comet. Extra, get your paper here. Read all about it.
This is the midnight edition of the Wistful Vista News. At a late hour tonight, the report seemed to be confirmed that the new comet discovered by a Mr. Flabber McGraw of 76 Wisteria Vistula is absolutely authentic. The head of the Mount Whitney Observatory, Professor Whittykind, is on his way to consult Mr. McGrew about his discovery. Some skepticism has been expressed in scientific circles because the last comet discovered by an amateur astronomer turned out to be the 936 mail plane to Cincinnati. Is your stomach easily upset? If you wake in the morning with that sluggish feeling, try a bottle of old...
What's the idea barging in our home?
I want a picture, Doc. Stand over there by the telescope. You too, mister.
McGee, I represent the International Association of Astronomers.
Hey, what is this? Quiet, everybody.
Yes, please be quiet while I verify Mr. McGee's discovery.
Who are you, Bud?
I am Professor Hercules Whittykind of Mount Whitney Observatory.
Oh, how do you do, I'm sure.
I'm glad to know you, Herc. Have a chair.
Never mind that. Let me see that telescope.
What's the matter? Won't you take my word for it?
Well, there's some question in academic circles whether or not this is the old Pazuska comet, which was discovered in 1765 and subsequently mislaid.
No, sir. This comet is strictly original. There's no record of it in the books. Here, take a look through that telescope. Well, you see it?
By George, Mr. McGee, I congratulate you. It is a new comet.
Why, of course it is. Did you doubt it?
Frankly, yes.
Huh?
Yes. After all, a new comet is not discovered every day.
Oh, McGee always discovers his at night, don't you, Daisy? Yes, he can see the stars better than he says.
Tell me, Mr. McGee, how do you account for the fact that of all the people in the world, you, a rank amateur with a homemade telescope, discovered this comet?
I had to.
You had to?
Yeah. I had to do something to prove to my wife that I don't need glasses.
Have you noticed how the days are getting longer and longer? Pretty soon, when you sit down to an early dinner, it will seem like the middle of the afternoon. That may be a slight exaggeration, but you know what I mean. And you know, too, how nice it is to have those extra daylight hours for being out of doors, working in the garden, playing with the children, or visiting with your friends. During nice weather, most women appreciate more than ever the time and work-saving advantages of Johnson's self-polishing Glow Coat, the modern floor polish. Glow Coat keeps your floors beautiful with practically no work at all. Now take your kitchen linoleum, for example. Pour a little Glow Coat onto the clean linoleum floor, spread it around, and let it dry. Come back in 20 minutes, and you'll find a floor that is sparkling with new beauty. Its colors as bright and fresh as new, protected against wear, and easy to keep spotless. Besides that, Glow Coat actually makes your linoleum last longer. So, if I ask you to try Johnson's self-polishing Glow Coat on your floors, you'll pardon my enthusiasm, won't you?
Hot dog, Molly, I'm famous. Fibber McGee, discoverer of the McGee Comet. I told you I'd prove I don't need glasses.
All right. So you proved you don't need glasses.
You
now,
betcha.
come on to bed, dearie.
All right, wait till I put these tools away first. Hand me that pair of pliers there, will you?
What pair of pliers?
That's pliers right there on the table.
That's a hairpin.
Huh? Oh. That's a pair of pliers. Good night.
Good night, all.
This is Harlow Wilcox, speaking for the makers of Johnson's Wax and Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat, inviting you all to be with us again next Tuesday night. Good night.
Hey, you! Pull over to the curb!
What's the matter, officer? I wasn't doing anything, was I?
No, not this time. I was just interested in that car of yours. Looks pretty neat for an old car. What do you use on it?
Oh, that? I use Johnson's Carnew.
Well, I don't have but 2 days off a month, and
but Carnew cleans and wax polishes your car in one operation, and half the time it used to take. It's really sensational.
It is, huh? Well, I'll be sure and try some on mine. Hey, you can go now, and much obliged for the tip about Tarnu.
You're welcome, officer. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Our next broadcast is the brainchild of American comedy duo George Burns and real-life wife and partner Gracie Allen. In September of 1934, their 30-minute program premiered as The Adventures of Gracie. The title changed in 36, and from 36 till 50, the series switched back and forth between NBC and CBS until it was canceled. They re-emerged on television with a successful situation comedy which lasted from 1950 to 1958. Ladies and gentlemen, we proudly present Burns and Allen on HOJO Radio.
Well, hello. Come right in. Oh, George, we've got company.
This is Bill Goodwin speaking for Lever Brothers, makers of Swan, the new white floating soap. Well, it's Tuesday night again. Time for another pleasant visit with George Burns and Gracie Allen, Jimmy Cash, and Paul Whiteman and his music. And now meet the people who live in the Burns house, George and Gracie. Who were your ancestors? Were they famous? Let us trace your family tree and find out. Well, that's the way the ad in the newspaper read. And, of course, Gracie clipped the coupon, unknown to George.
George, did you ever have your family history traced?
My family history?
Sure, you can't tell. Maybe there was somebody in your family who amounted to something.
Thanks, kid.
Did you ever have any famous relatives?
Well, I told you about my Uncle Charlie.
Oh, yeah, but I mean really famous. Not just a man who was known as the squarest bookie in Philadelphia.
What's all this sudden interest in my family?
Oh, nothing. It's just something a wife should know. Didn't I tell you all about my family before we got married?
Yeah, and I married you anyway.
Oh, George. I just thought some of your ancestors might have been famous, that's all. Like maybe you're descended from Robert Burns, one of America's greatest poets.
Gracie, you mean the fellow who wrote Coming Through the Rye?
Yes.
He was Scotch.
Oh, was he? I never can remember whether he was a Scotch poet who wrote about rye or an American poet who wrote about Scotch.
Well, Robert Burns was a Panatella, and I'm going into the library and smoke one.
All right, dear. But don't drop any ashes. We're having company tonight.
Tonight?
Yes.
Oh, gee, I was going to a concert tonight with the fellas. You know how we all love good music.
George, the last time you went to a concert with the boys, I found the ticket stubs in your pocket the next day.
Oh, you did?
Yes. Tell me, what does Tassel's Latour play? Does she play the piano or the violin?
Tassel?
Yes.
Oh, well, she just kind of walks around.
Well, there'll be no more of that from now on.
Oh.
One of those concert artists is liable to fall off the runway and hurt you.
Look, sweetheart, I don't care anything about the show. I just go to watch Paul Whiteman. He gets such a kick out of it. Can I go? What do you say, dear?
Don't drop any ashes on the floor.
I say.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Postman.
Good morning, Mrs. Burns. Here's a letter for you. It's a glorious day, isn't it?
Oh, yes, indeed. How are you feeling today, Mr. Postman?
The same as every other day, Mrs. Burns. Just bursting with health.
That's nice. You certainly look well.
Oh, yes. But anyone who exercises regularly can become the same physical specimen I am.
Well, if you'll pardon me, Mr. Postman, I'm very anxious to read my letter. I see it's from Professor Henning's Genealogical Institute.
Really? That's a coincidence because I sent away and had them look up my family tree, too.
Oh, did you?
Yes. The only thing I know about my ancestors is that they came from Wales.
They did? I'll bet they're wonderful swimmers.
Oh, Mrs. Burns, you say such funny things. I just have to laugh.
Well, I'm anxious to read this letter, Mr. Postman, so I'll see you tomorrow.
Goodbye, Mrs. Burns. Remember, keep smiling.
Oh, I'm so
so excited. Now I can learn all about George's family background. Dear Madam, we take pleasure in informing you that your husband, Mr. George Burns, is the direct descendant of an ancient Scottish king. This report... Oh, my goodness, a king! George is a king!
Hiya, Gracie. Where's George?
Oh, Bill, the most wonderful thing has happened.
What?
I've just discovered that George has royal blood.
Well, say, that is wonderful. Didn't know the kid had any.
Oh. I'm not joking, Bill. It's true. Professor Henning's Institute says that George is a Scottish king. And it only cost me 50 cents.
Well, you certainly got your 4 bits worth.
Yes. Now George and I are perfectly mated. There's some royal blood in my family, too, you know.
Oh, really?
Oh, sure. When Mama was a girl, she was chosen queen of the annual Spring Onion Festival.
Well, gee, just think of George Burns taking his place with famous kings like Louis XIV, King of France, Richard the Lion-Hearted, King of England, Swan the Suds and Whiz, King of Soaps.
Oh, Bill. I don't believe there ever was a king with a name like that.
Like what?
Richard the Lion-Hearted.
Why, Gracie, Richard the Lion-Hearted took the throne of England back in 1189. I remember the date because it was just exactly 752 years before the introduction of Swan, the new white floating soap that's purer than the finest Castiles.
Well, tell me some more about Richard the Lion-Hearted, Bill. You know, I think I'll pick a name like that for George. Like, George the Tiger-Lunged. Or, George the
How about George the Chicken Livered?
Oh, he'll sound like an hors d'oeuvre. Tell me more about Richard the Lion-Hearted.
Well, I tell you, Gracie, he was a great fighter and a great eater. You see, they say that he could eat an entire side of beef at one sitting.
Well, that was possible in those days.
Well, can you imagine the dishwashing that went on in his castle, Gracie? What a shame they didn't have Swan. Swan is great for washing dishes, you know, because it suds faster than other white floating soaps. And since Swan is purer than the finest Castiles, it's bound to help keep your hands smooth and lovely. That's why you should use Swan for every soap and water job. You know, it might be just the thing to wash George's kilts.
Kilts?
Oh, sure. If he's a descendant of a Scottish king, he ought to wear kilts.
Oh, no. I've seen George's legs, and I think all of his royal blood must be above his knees.
Well... Don't worry, Gracie. He can show his ancestry by being thrifty. He can practice thrift by breaking Swan in two with an easy twist of the wrist and using half in the kitchen for dishes and housework and half in the bathroom for his hands and face. Aye.
Oh, that's a wonderful accent, Bill. But George is a Scotch king, not a French king.
Oh, hello, Bill.
Oh, greetings, Your Majesty.
Hi, Highness.
Huh?
Is there anything you wish, sire?
Who, me?
May I fetch you a goblet of 7-Up?
Now, what's this?
Gracie, His Majesty looks perplexed.
Well, all right, the joke's over now. What's this all about?
Oh, I've got the nicest surprise for you, dear. You're a king.
A king?
Yes.
Well, that's nice. Look,
Oh,
Gracie.
George, I set away for your family tree, and there was a Scotch king growing on it.
Gracie, what have you started now?
Oh, but George is wonderful. Just think from now on, you'll be his grace, and I'll be her Gracie.
This is Paul Whiteman. You've heard this tune plenty of times by now, but here are the boys in the 6 hits and a miss with what we consider a different arrangement of Moonlight Becomes You.
Moonlight becomes you, it goes with your hair. You certainly know the right thing to wear. Moonlight becomes you. I'm thrilled at the sight, and I could get so romantic tonight. You're all dressed up to go dreaming. Now don't tell me I'm wrong. And what a night to go dreaming. Mind if I tag along? If I say I love you, I want you to know It's not just because there's moonlight, although moonlight becomes you so.
Gracie, I don't care what those people wrote you. I'm telling you for the 50th time, I'm not a king. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Majesty.
And stop calling me Your Majesty.
Yes, Your Highness.
And don't call me Your Highness either.
Yes, Your Kingship.
Look, sweetheart, I'm not a king.
Well, your ancestors were. And you know what I always say? Blood is thicker than,
Water.
what?
I said blood is thicker than water.
Well, of course it is. What's so wonderful about that?
Never mind. Forget it. Forget it.
Oh, did your loving subject say something to offend His Majesty?
Look, will you please stop?
Well, if I did, you have the right to banish me from your kingdom.
Gracie.
But you better not banish me further than Pasadena. We've only got 3 gallons of gas.
Look, for the last time, I'm trying to... Come in.
Are you the party who called me on the phone?
Oh, yes. Go right in the next room and get started.
Okay, Lenny.
Who's that?
A carpenter. I've got a little job for him to do. And when he's through with that one, I'm going to have him carve the Burns coat of arms on the front door.
There's no Burns coat of arms.
Well, I'm making one. You know, the coat of arms denote what the head of the house is famous for.
Look, Gracie.
If he's a brave knight, he has 2 lances crossed.
Yes, but...
If he's a brave hunter, he has 2 guns crossed.
Yes, but...
Yours is going to be beautiful. I'm crossing 2 cigars.
Yes, I'm a very brave smoker. Now, Gracie, stop this foolishness. I'm not a king. I'm not a king. I'm not a king.
You are, too.
Oh,
here comes your little son, the Crown Prince.
Don't call that darn duck my son.
Herman, Mama has a marvelous surprise for you. Do you know what your daddy George is? You do? Herman, he is not.
Oh, fine.
Your daddy George is a king. A king. That's a man who's stronger and smarter than other men, and everybody bows down to him. Oh, now, Herman, that's no way for a crown prince to act.
Crown Prince. I'd like to see him sitting on a throne of mashed potatoes. Go on, go on, go on.
Boys, I mean, Your Majesty, please.
Now, look, Gracie, I'm getting out of here before I go stark raving crazy.
Oh, Your Majesty, would you stop at the bakery and get me a half a dozen poppy seed rolls? My kings are temperamental. Well, I'd better see how the carpenter is doing. Well, how's the work going, carpenter?
Oh, fine, lady. I done just like you told me. Nailed one of the dining room chairs on a pedestal 2 feet high.
Oh, good.
Hey, what's the idea? So your little boy can reach a table?
Oh, no. When my little boy wants to reach the table, he just flies up there.
Your son can fly?
Well, of course. He's nearly 2 years old. He'd be pretty backward if he couldn't fly by now.
Holy gee, I got a kid that old who can't even walk yet.
Well, give him time. you, that chair does look nice, though. Oh, I know my husband will be delighted with it.
Oh, it's for your husband?
Uh-huh.
He's a midget?
Oh, no. You see, this chair is going to be his throne. He happens to be a king.
Oh, a what?
A king.
And that, of course, makes you a queen.
Oh, yes, naturally.
And your son, he's sort of a flying prince.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah, well, I guess I better be going, Queen. Goodbye.
Oh, but I haven't paid you for the job yet.
Don't bother. I probably only spend the money anyway. Goodbye.
Oh, no, wait. Wait, here comes my husband. I know you're dying to meet him. Hello, dear.
Hello.
Dear, this is Mr.
Brown, Harry Brown. How do you do, your imperialism?
Out. Go on, get out. Imperialism. Gracie, I've had about all I can stand of this thing. People on the street are staring at me like I'm some kind of a freak. What did you do? Phone everybody in town about this?
Well, George, on my word, I only mentioned it to 2 people, the Times and the Examiner.
Well, this tops everything you've ever done. You've made me the laughing stock of this whole town.
Oh, well, let them laugh. They laughed at all great kings. Julius Caesar, Frederick the Great, Henry VIII. They even laughed at William of Orange. But if he hadn't invented them, where would the state of California be?
I don't want to hear any more about it. I'm going up to my room.
Oh, very well, Your Highness.
Stop calling me Your Highness. Of all the ridiculous, idiotic stunts she's ever pulled. I'm almost sorry I didn't marry the Adagio dancer in Scranton after all. Fine king I am. Can't even go to a show when I want to. Say, wait a second. A king can do no wrong, can he? How about that?
Oh, George,
hello, Queen. How's every little thing?
Oh, aren't you mad at me anymore?
Oh, no. My Majesty has been thinking things over. If I'm a king, I'm a king, that's all.
Well, sure.
And a king can do no wrong, right?
Right.
Good. Now, about going out with the fellas tonight to see Tassel's Latour. I think my royal self needs a little diversion.
Oh, well, then by all means go, Your Majesty. Who am I to tell a great king what to do?
Well, hallelujah. Long may I rule.
And now here's Jimmy Cash singing a song that's on its way up. 3 Dreams. Okay, Jimmy.
You're dreaming, she's dreaming, I'm dreaming too, but 3 dreams are one too many, so my dream can never come true. You love her, she loves you, I love her too, but 3 dreams are one too many, so my dream can never come true. My hoping that she would love me was only a madcap scheme that left me in the middle of this crazy little 3-cornered dream. You're happy, she's happy, I know I'm through. 3 dreams are one too many.
Boy, this is the life.
Is Your Majesty quite contented?
Oh, yes. Everything is lovely.
Would Your Majesty care for another cigar?
Oh, no. The 2 I'm smoking now are fine.
Is that pillow comfortable for your royal head?
Oh, yes.
Is that footstool comfortable for your royal feet?
Oh, sure.
Is that chair comfortable?
Yes, everything is comfy. Ah, boy, this is the life. A king can eat what he pleases, do what he pleases, go where he pleases. Like, say, to a show with the fellows, huh?
Well, of course, sire.
Oh, boy, this is the life.
Would your majesty care to partake of a light snack? There's a T-bone steak in the royal icebox.
Steak? How did you manage to get a steak from the butcher?
Oh, it was no trouble. The count was delighted to let me have one.
The butcher is a count?
He is now. I made him a count in exchange for the steak.
I see what you mean.
Oh, yes, I knighted him. It was a lovely ceremony. He knelt down and I tapped him on the head with a cleaver.
Must have been pretty.
Oh, yes, yes. I also got a tin of coffee from the Marquis of A&P.
Well, that's nice.
And a quarter of a pound of butter from the Earl of Safeway.
Don't tell me that you haven't made somebody a baron.
No, not yet. But it'll either be Baron Magnan or Baron Bullock, whichever one gets nylons in first.
Well, I guess I'll go upstairs and start dressing. How soon will the tailor be through pressing my suit?
Oh, your suit's been back here for 20 minutes.
Really? Say, that's quick service.
Oh, yes, Lord Goldfarb brought it over himself.
Him too, huh?
Oh, he was thrilled when I made him a lord.
Really?
He said it was the only way he could think of that his wife could become a lady.
Well, I'm glad she finally made it. Well, farewell, my queen. I'm going upstairs and shave my royal kisser.
Yes, Your Majesty.
I'm expecting Count Goodwin and Sir Fatso Whiteman any minute. So, tell the boys to wait.
Very good, Your Majesty.
By the way, Goodwin doesn't think that you'll let me go out tonight. So straighten him out on that, Queenie. My imperial self will re-imperial in a few minutes. I'm sitting on top of the world.
Oh, I do wish he weren't going to see that show with the boys. Still, that Tassels Latour is royalty, too. She's advertised as the Queen of Quiver.
Hello, Gracie.
Oh, hello, Bill. Say, about George going out with you tonight.
Oh, now, Gracie, please let George go with Paul and me. He's been looking forward to this for weeks. You don't appreciate what a thrill he gets when the curtain goes up and there we are on the stage demonstrating Swan soap.
Oh, so you're going to demonstrate Swan soap tonight?
Oh, sure. You know, Swan, the new white floating soap that's purer than the finest Castiles. You know, money can't buy a purer soap.
But why do you need George and Paul Whiteman?
Oh. Well, after I break Swan in two, they each hold half a bar, you see. George represents the kitchen sink and Whiteman is the tub.
Oh, I see. And where are you going to hold this demonstration?
Where?
Yes.
At the Elks.
The Elks?
Oh, yes, of course. You see, Elks are men, and men have wives. Wives are women, and women have long considered Castile soaps the standard of purity, but Swan is even purer than the finest Castiles. Swan is so pure that it's kind to a little baby's tender skin. That's why thousands of mothers use Swan to bathe their babies.
Oh, is Tassels Latour an elk?
And if Swan is kind to a baby's tender skin, then you know it must be wonderful for your hands and face, your tub or shower. And always What did you say?
Tassels Latour.
Well, then you know where we're going tonight.
Oh, sure.
Well, Gracie, why'd you go to all that trouble to make a dope out of me?
It wasn't much trouble, Bill.
Oh, thanks. Well, then you don't object to George going, huh?
Well, I couldn't object. George is a king.
Oh, I see.
George thought I didn't know he goes to burlesque shows, but he never fooled me.
Oh, really? Well, what gave you the tip-off?
Well, I came home one day, and when I took off my hat and coat, he applauded.
Yeah, that was a little suspicious, I
But
think.
he's free to do anything he likes now. A king can do no wrong.
Gee, that's pretty soft. I suppose he'll be staying in bed every morning till 10 o'clock.
Well, why should being a king make him get up 2 hours earlier?
Oh, pardon me.
Come in. Oh, hello, Mr. Postman. Aren't you working awfully late?
This is a social call, Mrs. Burns. I thought you might be interested in what those family tree people told me.
Oh, you got yours too, huh? Are you descended from a long line of mailmen?
No, Mrs. Burns. I'm descended from Ivan the Terrible.
But that makes you a king, too. George isn't the only one.
Oh, no. Everybody in the neighborhood who sent in 50 cents turned out to be a king.
No.
Yes. I think those family tree people are dishonest, if you'll pardon such vigorous language.
Oh, how awful.
I just thought you ought to know about it. Well, good night, Mrs. Burns.
Bill, did you hear that? We may not be royalty at all. And all those titles I gave out. Now I'll have to unload the tailor and discount the butcher.
Oh, now, Gracie, take it easy. I'm sure George is a king, and he can prove it as soon as he gets back from the show. Hurry up, George.
Hi, kids.
Oh, hello, Paul. George will be ready in a minute.
Oh, Paul, did you hear what happened? I sent away 50 cents for George's family tree, and now
I sent away for that thing myself.
Oh, and are you a king, too?
No, I just sent him a quarter. I'm only a lousy duke.
Now I know it's a fake. George isn't a king at all. I'm going to investigate this.
Oh, yes, Gracie, by all means investigate it first thing tomorrow morning. Hurry up, George.
Ah, greetings, my faithful subjects. You may hold the door open, my queen. His Majesty is ready to mingle with the common people.
Get away from that door, George Burns.
Have a care, my good woman. This is no way to address a king.
You're no king.
Huh?
Sit down.
Oh, yes, dear.
You're staying home with me.
Yes, dear.
And take one of those cigars out of your mouth.
Yes, dear.
You made up this whole thing just so you could see Tassel's Latour.
I made it up?
Yes. You better go into the kitchen and look at the curtains. They've got the only tassels you're going to see tonight.
Well, George and Gracie will be right back, so I'm just going to take a second to remind you that Swan in your house is like money in the bank, because Swan saves you real money. You see, you save with Swan in the kitchen because Swan does the work of expensive package soaps. And you save again in the bathroom because Swan gives you more soap per penny than any of the leading toilet soaps tested. So buy Swan and save money with the soap that's purer than the finest Castiles. Well, here they are again, George and Gracie.
George, would you take this can of waste kitchen fat down to the butcher?
Oh, I'll be glad to.
You know, the government needs waste fats to make bombs and bullets.
Oh, sure. I'll be glad to take it, Gracie. And if I don't come back in an hour or two, don't worry.
No, I won't. I took that ticket out of your pocket.
I'll be back in 10 minutes.
The makers of Swan, the new white floating soap, join George and Gracie in inviting you to tune in to your CBS station again next week, same time. Now remember, George Burns and Gracie Allen, CBS, next Tuesday night. And don't forget to listen to Swan's other show, Tommy Riggs and Betty Lou, over another network next Friday night. And now till next week, this is Bill Goodwin saying, well, hi, Swan. How about you? Good night.
This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Thanks for listening to HOJO Radio. We have more classic radio coming your way next.
Well, hello, Oh, come right in. Oh, George, we've got company.
This is Bill Goodwin speaking for Lever Brothers, makers of Swan, the new white floating soap. Well, it's Tuesday night again. Time for another pleasant visit with George Burns and Gracie Allen, Jimmy Cash, and Paul Whiteman and his music. But first, here are the 6 hits and a miss, singing Hip Hip Hooray.
Hip, hip, hooray, we're living in the USA. Come on, you Yanks, go holler thing. Hip, hip, hooray, hip, hip, hooray. Americans will always say, we like it here, stand up and cheer. Hooray, hooray, every girl and boy can find romance beneath star-spangled skies. There's lots of fun for everyone in our land of paradise. Hip, hip, hooray, we live in the USA. Let freedom ring, come on, sing. Hip, hip, hooray, hooray.
And now meet the people who live in the Burns house, George and Gracie. Well, it's early morning at the Burns home, and all 3 of the Burnses are still sound asleep. There's Papa Burns, and Baby Burns, and Mama Burns.
Oh, Tyrone, do you really think so?
Huh? What? What? Oh. Gosh, it's cold. Every morning since our maid quit, it's the same thing. Get up in a cold house and go fix the furnace. Oh, well, somebody has to do it. Gracie, wake up. It's time for you to fix the furnace.
Oh, ho. Good morning, George. Hurry, but wake up there. It's morning. Oh. Good morning, darling. Now say good morning to your daddy.
Gee, he's cute. I could just eat him up. In fact, I think
You
I'm
now,
going
George,
to eat him.
That's no way to talk.
All right. Well, you better get up and fix the furnace, dear.
Oh, I don't have to this morning. We have a maid to do that.
A maid? You mean Minnie is back?
Oh, no.
I thought maybe Lucky dropped her option. Imagine having a maid again.
Oh, yes, isn't it wonderful? We're going to have breakfast in bed this morning.
Really?
Yes. You know, when I was a girl, I went to a hospital once for 3 weeks just so I could have breakfast in bed every morning.
And you weren't sick?
No, but I kept insisting I had a pain in my side. And did the doctors fall for it? Imagine, they even took out my appendix.
And you sure put one over on them.
Yeah, I know. Well, ring for the maid, dear. The bell's right alongside your bed.
Okay. Gee. I can't believe we finally got a maid.
And you'll be surprised when you see her. Oh, good morning, Tootsie.
Oh, did Madam ring?
Oh, no. Don't tell me Tootsie Sagwell is the maid.
Sure. Is breakfast ready, Tootsie?
Uh-huh. I'll bring it up as soon as the coffee cools off.
As soon as it cools off.
Yes, those tin cans get so hot you can't pick them up off the stove.
All right, Gracie. You better explain why Tootsie is in this house pretending to be a maid.
Well, it's part of our plan, George.
What plan?
The Beverly Hills Uplift Society give each other a boost in the crisis plan.
Might have known that silly club of yours was involved.
Well, it's a marvelous idea.
I'll bet.
Well, you know it's almost impossible to get help now, so the members are going to take turns being each other's servants.
Only a genius could think up an idea like that.
Oh, please, Judge, you're making me blush.
Oh, I say.
Now, take our laundry arrangement. I do Mrs. Taylor's laundry at her house, and she does mine here.
Well, that saves you both a lot of work.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is carry our washing machine back and forth.
That's all I have to do?
Sure, she doesn't live so far from us, and it's all downhill all the way to her house.
And uphill all the way back.
You never made the trip, George. You're just guessing.
Yeah. I'm just guessing.
Breakfast is served, madame. And shall I place it on the table?
Hey, look out for that footstool.
Oh. I think I tripped.
Oh. Well, don't feel bad, Tootsie. I asked for breakfast in bed, and that's where you put most of it.
Look at this mess. Coffee, eggs, butter, bacon in our bed.
Aren't we lucky? Most people haven't even got it in their icebox.
Yeah, we're very lucky.
I'm sorry, Gracie. I didn't mean to.
All right. Stop cackling, even if you are the only hen who ever laid a fried egg on a blanket.
Well, never mind, Tootsie. Just go down and start all over again.
She'll do nothing of the kind. If you want to cook that badly, I'll hire one.
But, George, if you do that, what will happen to the Beverly Hills Uplift Society give each other a boost in the crisis plan?
Just clean up this mess. I'm going down and get a cook. Tomato juice all over my pajamas. Wish that Tootsie Sagwell would get drafted. But I guess her face will always be in 4F.
Hi, George.
Oh, good morning, Bill.
I just dropped by to... Say, you certainly like to brag, don't you?
I like to brag?
Yeah, I know bacon is hard to get, but do you have to wear a slice behind your ear?
Just had my breakfast thrown at me. Do you know a good employment agency? I want to hire a cook.
Well, George, I know the girl at the newspaper office who takes the help wanted ads. I'll give her a ring, huh?
Oh, don't bother, Bill. I'll just call a nation
Oh, it's
station.
no bother, George. She loves to have me call her. In fact, Barbara's so crazy about me, she'll probably put the ad in for nothing.
Oh, good.
Hello. Oh, hello, Babs. This is Billy. Take this ad, will you? Billy. Yeah, Bill. Oh, you know Bill Goodwin. Look, who's got dimples and curly hair and kissed you last night, huh? What? About 9:30. Oh, he did? Well, maybe I was there at 9:15.
Look, Dimples, just give her the ad. Maid wanted, good salary.
Oh, you remember me, Babs. We had a wonderful conversation. You said, what's new? And I said, Swan soap. And you said, what do you know? And I said, I know Swan is purer than the finest Castiles. Money can't buy a purer soap. And you said, get him. Gee, it was such a romantic conversation.
Just give her the ad, Lochinvar. Maid wanted, easy hours.
Well, gee, Babs, don't you remember? I said Swan is great for washing the dishes because it suds faster than other white floating soaps. And since Swan is purer than the finest Castiles, it's kind to your hands, too. Helps keep them soft and lovely. So use Swan for every soap and water job in the house. And you said, uh-huh. Babs, don't you remember saying, uh-huh?
Bill, I'd like to hire a maid. Would you tell her that it's...
Babs, don't you remember how I took your little hand in mine and showed you how to break Swan in two with a simple twist of the wrist?
Look, Bill.
So that you could use half in the kitchen for your dishes and cleaning and the other half in the bathroom for your hands and face? Remember? Oh, you do?
Well, good. Bill, now give her the ad.
Well, I'll be right over, sweetheart. Goodbye.
Bill, you called that girl for me.
Are you kidding?
Well, I'll get a cook. Where's the phone book?
George, what are you doing?
Looking up an employment agency.
Well, you might as well use the club plan. You'll never be able to get a cook.
Well, don't worry. I'll get one.
I'll bet you won't.
Well, all right. It's a bet. You know that expensive hat I wouldn't let you buy?
Yes.
I'll bet you that hat.
All right.
All right.
And if I lose, you can go up and get it out of my closet and take it back.
This is Paul White, and the boys and I would like to pay a little tribute to a good neighbor with our arrangement of Brazil.
Well, Gracie, you said it was impossible to hire any help. But just look in the other room. There are 4 or 5 women waiting to be interviewed.
Well, George, you're making a big mistake. You ought to use our Beverly Hills Uplift Society to give each other a boost in the crisis plan.
Gracie, I don't want to hear any more
Well, it's
about
a wonderful plan, George. They boost you today, and you boost them tomorrow.
it. I can't wait till tomorrow. I'd like to boost them right
George.
out. Oh, well, forget the plan, Gracie. Forget that club plan. I'll show you how to handle the help situation. Okay, I'll see the first applicant. Now, madam, I'm going to be businesslike about this and not waste any time. The pay is $20 a week, and you get Thursdays off, and there's no use asking any questions because that covers everything. Do you want the job?
No.
Gee,
She was businesslike, too, wasn't she?
yeah, I guess I frightened the poor woman.
See, George, I have a wonderful idea.
What?
Why not adopt the Beverly Hills Uplift Society?
No,
with each other?
no. I don't want those club women in this house. I'd rather have termites.
Well, George, this is no time to be choosy.
Well, forget it. I'm going to interview the next woman. Right this way. Who's next?
I am.
Now, miss.
Let's get going, Shorty. I ain't got all day. What's your name?
Huh?
Your name. If I cut my finger, I want to know who I'm suing.
Oh, fine.
Oh, his name is Mr. George Burns.
Burns is enough. I ain't going to call him Mister because I'm as good as he is.
Yeah, but...
And I ain't going to call you George because you ain't my type.
Yeah, but...
So Burns is enough.
Yeah.
How many rooms in this house, Burns?
Well... There are 4 rooms upstairs.
Never mind the upstairs. I'm strictly a downstairs cleaner.
Well, downstairs is the library and the living room.
We'll bring the books in the living room. That makes 1 less to clean. What else?
Well, there's a dining room and a kitchen.
We'll eat in the kitchen. That makes 2 less.
Now, wait a minute.
Better bring the books in the kitchen, too. Why spread out?
Now, wait a minute.
What does this job pay?
20 a week.
20 a week? I pay my cook more than that.
All right. What's so funny? What are you laughing at?
You frightened that poor woman, too. Oh, George, if you'd only adopt...
Gracie, I don't want those silly club women in this house.
But, George, they only want to help you. And you know what I always say, love laughs at locksmiths.
Well, what is that? That proverb doesn't fit.
Well, maybe not, but that's what I always say.
Yeah, and I always have to listen to it. Next girl.
You mean me?
Yeah, step in here. How do you do?
Hello?
Are you an experienced cook?
Oh, sure. I've had 10 jobs in the last month.
Well, why did you leave all those positions?
I didn't leave. They fired me.
Well, wasn't your work satisfactory?
Oh, sure.
Well, then, why did they fire you?
I haven't the slightest idea.
Well, I have, and good day.
Well, George, shall we try the club plan, dear?
Honey, for the last time, I'm not going to do anybody else's housework.
But you know all the people in the club, George. It's not like I was asking you to scrub a strange floor or wash a sock off an unfamiliar foot.
Forget it. Anyway, there's still 1 dame left. I better handle her with kid gloves. Well, hello there. I guess you're the last one.
I guess I am.
Well, step right in. You know what they say. Last but not least. This is my wife.
I'm sure you'll find me satisfactory, madam. I'm an excellent all-round worker.
Well, the work is very simple. In the morning, you dust the...
No dusting.
No dusting?
Dust is bad for my sinuses.
Well, my wife will be glad to do the dusting.
And the laundry.
No laundry?
I'm allergic to water.
Well, don't you ever wash yourself?
Oh, sure. With olive oil.
Well, maybe she can do the laundry in olive oil.
Gracie, if you don't...
Well, it would make it easy if you had to slip into your clothes.
Very hilarious. Look, miss, do you mind sweeping?
Oh, no. Sweep as much as you like.
No sweeping?
Rheumatism.
Well, can you cook?
Oh, I'm a wonderful cook.
But?
The smell of food makes me bilious.
Lady, is there anything wrong with your legs?
No, my legs are fine.
Then run out the door. Out! Out!
Well, George, you give up?
No.
Well, George, why don't you let me handle the servant problem? My mother always said that the wife should run the home and the husband should earn the money.
Well, in this family, the husband runs the house.
Poor Mama. She had the whole thing backwards.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Here's Jimmy Cash with a mighty attractive proposition. Why don't you fall in love with me? And okay, Jimmy.
I'm tired of feeling blue. I want to know just how I stand with you. And now that you're in my embrace, this is the time, this is the place. As long as you're not in love with anyone else, why don't you fall in love with me? You're driving me crazy, baby, trying to guess. Will you tell me no, or will you tell me yes? You gotta go overboard for someone someday. Believe it or not, it's bound to be. As long as you're not in love with anyone else, why don't you fall in love with me?
Well, now George is out making the rounds of the employment agencies. Meanwhile, Gracie has slipped Tootsie into the kitchen as their cook. She feels confident that when George tastes the Irish stew they're making, he'll okay her club plan.
How's the stew coming along, Tootsie? Almost done?
I think so, Gracie. Oh, the potatoes and onions look lovely.
Let's see. They do look nice. Which is which?
The potatoes are the ones that fell apart.
Oh,
it's too bad we didn't have any carrots.
Oh, well, that doesn't matter. The bananas we put on are practically the same shape.
Oh, that's right. And with the skins left on, they're almost the same color.
Sure. George will never know the difference. I just know our stew will be a big success, Tootsie. Even if we did have to make it without meat.
Oh, yeah. It's lucky you thought of that article you read about meat substitutes.
Oh, it certainly is. Do you think that pound of Swiss cheese will be enough? Or should we put in the Roquefort, too?
Oh, I believe the Swiss cheese is enough.
Mm-hmm.
Hiya, Gracie. I saw you and George through the kitchen window. Oh, Tootsie, I thought you were George with an apron on.
That's not a very nice thing to say, Bill.
Oh, you're right. He's one of my very dearest friends. Gee, I'm sorry you didn't hire a new cook, Gracie, because I wanted to tell her about Swan, the new white floating soap that's purer than the finest Castiles. I wanted to tell her that Swan's a regular suds and whiz.
Well, Tootsie's our cook today, Bill. You see, we have a club plan where we all work for one another.
Oh, say, that sounds like a swell idea. Can I get in on it?
Oh, sure. You can come over to my house tomorrow and cook for me. I've always wanted to stir up something with you.
No, thanks, Tootsie.
Why not?
Well, you see, I'd rather work in a home where there's babies. You see, I just love to bathe babies with Swan.
Well, Bill...
You know, Swan is so pure it's kind to even a baby's tender skin. And if it's swell for baby, well, it's great for your hands and face, your tub or shower.
Well, Bill...
You know, many women have long considered Castile soap's the standard of purity.
Well, Bill...
But Swan is even purer than the finest Castiles.
Well, Bill... Well... Bill, I have an idea. I'll come over and cook for you.
Oh, no, Tootsie. You see, I don't have any pots or pans.
Well, that's all right. I bring my pan.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Well, Bill, Tootsie's a wonderful cook. Just look at the stew we're making for George. There, get a whiff of that.
Say, you girls are going to be famous.
Really?
Why, sure, you've got a new formula for synthetic rubber. Goodbye.
Did you hear what he called our stew?
He doesn't know what he's talking about. It might look like rubber and smell like rubber and stretch like rubber, but whoever saw rubber with bananas in it?
Oh, Gracie, where are you?
Oh, my goodness, George is back. He mustn't find me here.
Well, don't worry, I'll keep him out of the kitchen. Oh, hello, dear. Back so soon?
Yeah. I went to 12 employment agencies. 11 of them are out of business, and the other one's a bookie.
Oh, well, cheer up, darling. While you were gone, I got a cook.
You did? Where'd you get her?
Where?
Yeah.
Oh, I got her from the Baylesses across the street.
Well, why did they give her up?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, they went away for a rest. Yeah, that's it. They went away for a rest. To Europe.
They went to Europe for a rest?
Well, you see, he used to live in New York under the elevated, and he can't rest unless there's a lot of noise, so...
Gracie, I'd like to see this cook.
Oh, well, no, you can't, George. She's very temperamental. She's scared of men.
She's scared of men?
Well, yeah, you see, her mother was once frightened by her father, who was a man. And ever since...
Gracie, I'm going in to see this cook.
No, wait, George. She's very temperamental.
But I want to talk to her. What's her name?
Her name?
Yeah.
Oh, it's, Bridget. Oh, I'll tell you what, George. Talk to her through the kitchen door.
For what? I'm going in there.
Oh, no, you're not. Gracie, what's the big... Lock the door.
Let me in there.
Yeah.
Let me in.
George, Bridget doesn't want you in here, do you, Bridget? Her face and that I don't. I'll have no man tracking up me white kitchen with his big feet.
Was that Bridget who just spoke?
Well, of course it was, George. She's Irish. Aren't you, Bridget? Sure in that I am.
Bridget, are you sure you're not Gracie?
Oh, go away with you now. Faith and Gracie is 10 times prettier than I am. And it's lucky you are to be married to a Colleen whose eyes are as blue as the lakes of Killarney and whose fur coat is getting a little tattered, so why don't you buy her a new one?
Now I'm convinced you're not Gracie. But, but from the sound of your voice, Bridget, me darling, I'll bet you're every bit as pretty.
George Burns, you stop flirting with me.
What did you say?
Faith, and I mean you stop flirting with your wife.
Enough is enough. Unlock this door.
Gracie, I think the stew is ready. It just collapsed.
Oh, good. I'm coming right out, dear. Dinner is ready. Well, here you are. Just tuck your napkin around your neck.
Does that smell come from this food?
Yes. Doesn't it smell delicious? Bridget says it's an old family recipe. This stew has been handed down from mother to daughter.
Looks like one of them dropped it. Look, Bridget, I heard you whispering to somebody in... Which one of your club members is out there in the kitchen?
Why, George Burns, how...
I'll be right back. I see. Tootsie!
Oh, hello, George. My, you look handsome today. New suit. Well, goodbye.
Tootsie, you come in here.
Yes, George?
Sit down and eat that stew.
Well, I'd love to, but I'm really not hungry. I had a glass of water this morning.
Eat it!
Well, go on, Tootsie. Tootsie, eat him. And when he sees how much you enjoyed, he'll adopt our club plan.
Yeah.
Here, open your mouth and swallow this.
Oh.
Well, how do you like it? Well, don't just pop your eyes at me, Tootsie. How do you like it?
It's delicious. Goodbye.
Well, that's good. That is great. Simply a wonderful idea. Now, there's no dinner, and I'm starved.
Well, here's where our boost in the crisis plan goes to work. I'll just call Blanche Morton, and she'll come over and cook our dinner.
Well, tell her to hurry. Is she a good cook?
Good. She taught Tootsie Sagwell everything she knows.
Never mind. We'll eat out. That's
all. George and Gracie will be right back, so I'm going to make a brief suggestion. Instead of buying lots of different kinds of soaps, try Swan for every soap and water job in the house. In the kitchen, Swan does the work of easy-to-waste package soaps. And in the bathroom, for your hands and face, Swan gives you as pure a soap as money can buy. And at the same time, gives you more soap per penny than any leading toilet soap tested. So be kind to your budget, and be kind to your hands with Swan, the soap that's purer than the finest Castiles. Well, here they are again, George and Gracie.
Well, George, our stew might have looked and tasted like synthetic rubber, but I got a pound of waste fat out of it, and I took it down to the butcher's.
Oh,
The government can use it to make bombs and bullets.
good. And what did you do with the rest of the stew?
Oh, how do you like my new galoshes?
The makers of Swan, the new white floating soap, join George and Gracie in inviting you to tune in to your CBS station again next week, same time, when their guest will be Charles Lawton. Remember, George Burns and Gracie Allen, CBS next Tuesday night. And don't forget to listen to Swan's other comedy show, Tommy Riggs and Betty Lou, over another network every Friday night. And now till next week, this is Bill Goodwin saying, well, I, Swan, how about you?
This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Thank you for listening to HOJO Radio. We'll be back again very soon.